All right. We are live. This is Randall 419, the man with the million. And man, starting to feel the hype a little bit. We're a couple days away from the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase. We got a final episode here before this all goes down, before we find out what Xbox has under their sleeves. And I'm joined, as always, by the one and only Jez Corden of Windows Central, who, before he says anything, he's a little bit under the weather, so he might sound a little weird. He might be coughing and hacking up a lung and stuff. So let me know about the levels in the chat, because I don't know, he might sound a little loud. I don't know, but what's going on, buddy?
Oh man, I'm feeling rough, and I apologize to everyone in advance if this is a weirder show because I feel like a corpse. But yeah, I thought I had COVID. Like I did the test. I had a fever of 40°C, which is pretty high, and I felt so damn rough yesterday. I just couldn't even sit up. I got up and I was like, yeah, I'll play some games or something to take my mind off it. And I literally just, my head just felt heavy, and I was like, nah, I'm going back to bed. So, but I do feel a little bit better today. So, and also COVID test came back negative. So whatever it is, it doesn't seem to be COVID. So what can you do? But the show, Rand, must go on, especially this weekend, because, as you said, the hype's starting to settle in a little bit.
Indeed it is. I didn't know you were going to cut off right there. I thought you were going to keep on going.
No,
so
I thought I'd let you take over for a bit.
Yeah,
gotta let you speak sometime.
Hey man, everybody's here to see you anyways. I'm just a lucky bloke that gets to interview you every week.
Bloke?
Yeah, bloke. I'm using your terminology. I'm using your terminology this week.
Oh, all right.
So,
thanks for that.
Yeah. So, how's everybody doing in chat? Hope everybody's having a great Friday. Man, it's I love this time of year, man. The E3, it's like gamer Christmas, as they say. You get to see all these new game announcements. And I'm really kind of feeling the hype for Sunday, mainly because I don't know anything about the show. The last 2 years, I knew like 90%, 80% of what was going to be there. And yeah, I guess you can maybe argue it drained some of the excitement from it. The only like real surprise is actually seeing the things on screen. But this year, I don't know anything. I'm in the dark just like everybody else. I mean, I got educated guesses. If you watch my video from a couple days ago, I'm kind of just like, okay, I can kind of put together something that's gonna be here. But yeah, I just it's kind of great being in the dark this time, Jez. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't really know anything that's going to be there for sure. I put out my predictions article as well last week, and it's just educated guesswork. There's some things that's kind of obvious that's going to be there, given development timelines and things that got delayed and stuff. But when it comes to surprises and like actually knowing for sure what is and what isn't going to be there, I haven't got a clue. And well, I know a few things that definitely aren't going to be there. Which we'll talk about a little bit later, but yeah, beyond that, I don't know, and it's nice.
It's funny because nobody believes us in chat. Especially Georgie says he doesn't believe us. I'm being truthful. I don't know why people like when I say like stuff like that, people don't believe me. Like when I said the stuff about Final Fantasy VII last week, which I got slothed for, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Rand leaked it." I didn't, because I literally had just made it up on the spot that very second. And I'm starting to feel like that's not gonna happen, and it's gonna be a prediction I'll lose out on or whatever. But I'll hold that L. I'm not gonna change it, so I'm still like, yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake coming, announced on Sunday, day one on Game Pass, dropping that day. But realistically, I think that's probably a little bit unlikely. But anyways, we got a good show for you guys. If you do us a big favor, make sure you hit the like button, share this out to let everybody know we're live. And this week, just like last week, we are powered by Manscaped. So it's my turn to do this ad read. So I can maybe do a little bit better than Jez, as he's a little sick. So, all right. So just like the future of Xbox and... Okay, I screwed that up. Let me start over. I screwed that up. This happens sometimes. You should see it when I actually record my videos. Like, because I kind of want to get to the point quickly, so I kind of speed talk in some instances. And then I trip over my words. So then I have to, like, re-record stuff. So even though, like, a video is maybe 11 minutes long, most of my videos end up being recorded for 15 minutes. I end up cutting out like 4 minutes of mistakes or just empty dead air. So this happens to me quite a bit. I'm used to it. Okay. let me round two. Let's see here. Just like the future of Xbox is bright and shiny, so too will be your balls. Equip your balls with the best with the best epic loot from manscaped.com with our checkout code XB2. Razors, shavers, boxers, cologne, and so much more can be yours, including the best-selling Performance Package 4.0, an ideal gift for Father's Day, or the brand new Premium Platinum Pack. Okay, you put that in there deliberately to screw me up with all those P's in a row there. You did that deliberately. The new Premium Platinum Package to make sure your power plums are perfectly pristine. You did this on purpose. You made sure I was going to trip over these words. Anyways, 20% off.
You missed out a world. Pearly.
No, I said to make sure your power plums are pearly pristine. So 20% off worldwide shipping, free worldwide shipping, manscaped.com with the checkout code XB2. Thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring this video, and I hope you enjoyed all my mistakes. I know you did. It sounded like
Premium Platinum Package, Power Plums, Pearly Pristine. See, it's easy.
Say that 10 times fast.
I'm too sick. Too sick, Rand. Oh, man. But yeah, XB2 in the checkout, manscaped.com. Thanks to them for sponsoring the video. You can check it out in the chat, and I'll put some links in the description on Spotify for those listening there. Thanks to them for sponsoring the video. And that was a good attempt, Rand. It was a good attempt.
I tried my best.
I tried
my best. So we have a couple super chats I want to get to before we talk about everything that's going on. We got one from Flame, who says, Summer Games Fest was so bad it made Jez sick. That's definitely a possibility. Man, people in chat are saying that you don't sound sick to them, Jez, so I don't know. You gotta play it up a little bit. You gotta play it up a bit.
I know.
Parker,
well, I'm still working, so
says, I'm here for that sweet, sweet Rand content. Well, thank you. And I hope everybody's enjoyed that sweet content. I actually made 3 videos in a row, which is, I think, as many videos as I've made in the last 3 months. It was very interesting getting back on the bicycle again. Making videos can be exhausting. It takes a lot of time. It's not as quick as easy as people think. Well, I mean, I guess it depends if you don't really edit your stuff. It can, be super quick. But, yeah, I mean, I just kind of needed that push, the excitement to kind of get back into the groove. So we're there. So I hope everybody enjoyed those videos. It was fun to talk a little bit about the future of Xbox and my predictions for the show, as well as some crazy, crazy rumors that were floating around. So
There's a lot of rumors.
There's definitely a lot of
rumors.
rumors. Yeah. Asia Rua says, hello, late Althor and drunk Corden. Final Fantasy VII has a 10-minute show on the 16th. This plus Randy the Leaker confirms Final Fantasy VII on Xbox for me. Sorry, Randy. Well, I mean, I hope we get it. I hope that everybody who wants Final Fantasy on Xbox gets it. You know, I put out that prediction last week because I was feeling the hype and I wanted to be bold. But it's coming. I felt it. They do have the stream next week to the 16th. Is it going to be at the show on Sunday? If it's not, do they announce it at this show on the 16th? I feel like if it was coming, it would be announced on Sunday, right, Jez?
If it was coming, it'd be announced at the Xbox show because I think Sony wouldn't want it announced at Square Enix's show. And we all know that Square Enix is Sony's bitch. So I think if it was coming, it'd be announced at the Xbox show. So personally, I don't think it's coming. Personally. I hope it is, but I don't think it is.
I have to take umbrage with you for just 1 second here.
Umbrage,
yes.
Fuck is umbrage?
I was a little.
Ain't that a Harry Potter character?
I mean, sure, but it's a word that has a meaning. I'm a little upset with you. I was a little peeved because you in your E3 article deliberately put in there against my wishes about how I was a legendary gaming insider, and you named me, and I was like,
true. It's true.
I don't know. Look, I'm not. I don't know. You give me this, and so you changed it because I complained to you, and you changed it to legendary Pokemon esports player or something.
Well, which do you prefer?
I mean, I'd rather be known as a legendary Pokemon esports player.
Well, there you go then.
Yes.
It'd be really funny if some esports organization hit you up and was like, "Oh, Rand, you want to join our esports team or something?"
I wish.
But no. I don't think anyone reads past the title.
Brett in the super chat says the cure for Jez's illness is the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase. I mean, I hopefully he feels better because just so you guys know, anybody tuning in, everybody here already, thank you guys for being here. This is 5 Fridays in a row now. It's we're feeling it. It's on a streak. Man. No Saturdays. We can let Gaz do his show at his normal time without us interfering. But for those of you wondering, I am most likely going to be streaming the showcase. So if you want to watch it with me and, hear what I got to say, actually hear my surprise because I don't know what's at the show, I'm more than likely, I'm 95% sure I will be streaming the showcase. So you guys can stop on by. You can check it out later. You can watch it with me. We'll have a good time because, like I said, it's all going to be new to me. And me and Jez will be doing an Xbox 2 podcast, not that day. We decided we're going to do it Monday. So our thoughts about the showcase we'll be doing it the following day, that Monday, same time as normal, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. And then that Friday, because normally we do the podcast on Friday, as you guys know, instead of not doing another podcast, we're doing the podcast Monday and then not doing anything until the following Friday, which is a long time. We're going to try to do another show on Friday and have people from the community come in to talk about certain things. It was just we had a few people in mind to come into the show today, and everybody was busy, whether they were flying out to LA for the show and stuff like that. So it was just you know what? Plus there was a whole bunch of new news we could discuss anyways. So it kind of worked out. So you'll be getting 2 Xbox 2 podcasts next week. Well, actually 3 streams because I'll be doing one solo. Me and Jez will be doing one on Monday. And then we'll have the one with guests on Friday. So it's gonna be a fun week, right, Jez?
It's gonna be a big week.
And you better get better. We don't need you to get more sick.
I'll try. Oh God, I will definitely try.
All right. So Camp Gaming says, "Feel better, Jez. Use this to buy some NyQuil." And RDX Son of Fett says, "Xbox can make the boys game F superhero games." Okay. Alexander Dark 91 says, you guys going to talk about the leak with Kojima? I mean, I actually didn't have that listed, but I'm sure somebody would bring that up, and you just brought it up. So let me just type this into my little thing, my little notepad, Kojima leak, and we will definitely be talking about it. Thank you for reminding me, Alex. Let's see what else we got here. RDX also says, make a Spider-Man variant to kill. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. George says, Jez, don't leak what isn't there. We know Fable and Perfect Dark. I mean, I also don't think State of Decay 3 is there. And I would hazard to guess neither is Hellblade 2. So.
Yeah. All the Phoenix collection that everyone keeps bringing up to me.
Don't talk about the Phoenix collection.
Why?
How many people have hit you up about the Gears collection thing?
A lot, because people know that I'm a Gears fan, and that a lot of people want to know if it's true, but it's not true. It's not true. It's not. There's no Gears collection at the show, or indeed maybe ever.
No. F's in the chat for the Gears fans, I guess.
Well, that's just one of the things that I know is not going to be at the show, at least. But we'll get into that.
What if the person who told you that it's not real was just lying to you, though? Because that person knows you're such a huge Gears fan, and he thought it would be better for you to be surprised. So in actuality, come Sunday, boom, here's Gears Collection remastered Unreal Engine 5, and you're surprised and happy.
I mean, hey, if that's the case, then fine. But right now, I'm operating on the assumption that it's not a thing. That's my current heading on that one.
Right. Yeah. Jesse Darby says, Jez and Rez, what do you think of paid demos? That is definitely a topic for discussion we have written down here because, well, I mean, it's funny because sometimes you gotta think before you speak. A lot of people went after PlayStation for their trials locked behind the paywall, and little did everybody know that Xbox was going to do demos behind Game Pass. So, yeah, we'll definitely. I don't even know what Jez thinks about that. So I'm sure we're gonna have a difference of opinions on this one potentially. Garkle says, "Can we get a live demo from Rand and how to use the Manscaped products?" You'd have to subscribe for my OnlyFans for that. Daswell Gordon says Final Fantasy VII Remake prayer circle in the chat. Man, I hope you're gonna we're gonna have to pray to get that game to come to Xbox. Gene says, why is no one mentioning the Def Jam remake? Is there a Def Jam remake? Did I miss something?
What is Def Jam? I don't know what that is.
Def Jam. I mean, I played Def Jam Fight for New York. I forget on what system it was on. It was like a wrestling game with rappers. It was actually really, really fun. And then I think they made another Def Jam game for the 360 that was really cool. And I don't think they've made another one since. So yeah, Dead Planet says, what if Kojima's game is not Overdose, or Dead or Death Stranding 2? Our buddy, Sin Vendetta, it's good to see you, man. He says, hello, Rand and Jez. Hope you have both a great Friday and a great weekend. And Jez, hope you feel better.
Thank you so much.
Hope you feel better. Jeez.
Man, it's like I got a frog in my throat, man. I don't like frogs in throats, generally speaking.
Generally. Achievement says, I think Hellblade 2 is a dev update on Wednesday. Wednesday? I mean, Tuesday is the extended showcase, so maybe it's there. And we have a Ron or Paul says, great show, guys. Here's some EU UK also codes for Game Pass Ultimate, and he put a whole bunch of codes in the chat.
Oh wow!
So anybody that wants
get on that, guys.
Game Pass Ultimate in Europe, make sure you use the code. Say thank you to Paul. Thank you for dropping those. So yeah, a lot going on this week. Summer Games Fest, Xbox dropping a whole bunch of announcements, a lot of things. The controversy surrounding Last of Us, price point. It's a A lot of things going on. I figure, you know what? Where should we begin on this? Let's talk about Summer Games Fest because it was yesterday, shall we? What do you think? Well, actually, you know
Sure.
what? Let's actually talk about the games we played briefly before we get into that. Because you've been playing a ton of Diablo Immortal, and I know you have thoughts on it because you've been telling me all about it.
Yeah.
There's everything going on about like how I've seen streamers spend $10,000 and not get a level 5
God, it's crazy.
gem and all this stuff. So how far are you in Diablo Immortal, and like what are your thoughts?
Man, it's such a weird game because I'm not going to talk about it too much because it's a mobile game and it's not an Xbox and it falls maybe slightly out of our typical sphere, but it is going to be owned by Xbox down the line, and that's where a lot of my interest falls on it because the game is immoral, man. It's straight up immoral the way it works, and I'm sure Blizzard behind the scenes are trying to justify it to themselves, being like, "Well, we gave you a full game for free." And arguably, yeah, the story's really good. The dungeons and boss fights are amazing. The combat feels great. Like, it's probably the best mobile phone action game I have ever played. Seriously. The story's great. The graphics are great. It runs great. 60 frames on my Samsung Galaxy Fold. And the touch controls are amazing. Like, it's really, really good game. But then, Rand, the microtransactions come in.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to realize that something's wrong here. Something ain't right here, And so basically, when you get to the end game, and I've got to end game, I've completed the story. It's an MMO at the end of the day. It's an MMO. It has PvP systems. Everyone shares a server. There's clans and guilds and stuff like that. And there's like challenge modes and bosses that you can fight in like 8-player groups, and it's all really cool and it's all really well done, really well designed. But then you realize that to succeed, you basically have to pay money, and it's such a mess because you can kind of feel that Blizzard's tried to cater to both groups of players, where it's like they've got all these artificial caps on it, right? So even if you spend 10 grand, you can't progress too much further than where the server average is. So like some of those headlines we've been seeing, like Twitch streamers drop 10 grand on microtransactions for a chance to get a 5-star gem, and they haven't been getting it. Some of that is because some of it's capped to the server average. So Blizzard's like, okay, we won't let whales get too far ahead of the servers. We'll try and let the free-to-play players catch up before we let them have more stuff. And it just becomes this horrible mess where like there's sort of half the server is paying money and they're really powerful, and in PvP they will one-hit kill you because they're way more powerful than you. And there's half the server who's sort of struggling on free-to-play and probably not having as much of a fun time. And you are literally just there to feed the whales kills. And it feels bad. It just feels bad, man. So it feels like unless you're giving them loads of money, Blizzard doesn't value you as a player, and that is the whole free-to-play model. And I think, like, for a lot of people, they're discovering this for the first time because it's an IP that everyone knows, and like this business model exists for years, but it's always been in games that are designed for mobile and IPs that are for mobile, like Raid Shadow Legends and stuff like that. Games no one would even care about, but because it's Diablo, a lot of people are discovering these mechanics for the first time, and they're just kind of like, man, this is horrible. It's immoral. It's like it's a casino for rich people, masquerading as a game. And honestly, I feel really bad for the devs that worked on it and made the game, like the actual gameplay of the game, because the story is amazing and the boss battles are incredible. There's a boss that, like, seriously, honestly, I think Rod Ferguson snuck in there somehow as a homage to Gears 2. Like, it's a boss from Gears 2, basically. And it's amazing the way it's done in an action RPG. It's like, it's really good. But then it's ruined, Rand, by all them pesky microtransactions.
By the greed?
By the greed, yeah. So, as an Xbox fan and someone who, like, is hoping that Phil's going to come in and clean house, I'm hoping that they actually just pivot away from all the casino bullshit, focus on cosmetics and quality of life upgrades like Path of Exile does. And yeah, it's Path of Exile does fine, you know. I don't know why it can't be like Path of Exile, which doesn't have any pay to win in it. Like you can buy inventory slots and cosmetics and stuff in Path of Exile, and they haven't gone out of business. They got bought by Tencent, and Tencent hasn't forced them to put any pay to win in it. I'm sure Path of Exile is like seeing Twitch streamers throw 10 grand at this game and thinking like, what the hell? Like what the hell? What, we're in the wrong business model here. We gave away Path of Exile basically for free, and we're not getting $10,000 thrown at us in microtransactions.
Could you imagine? Could anybody in chat imagine spending like $10,000 on a game in like a couple days? Just like
it's sick. It's
10
sickening.
grand, just like, yeah, whatever, like no problem, I'll spend 10. Like the idea that someone would do that just at a chance of getting like a 5-star gem to make your character maybe like a percentage point more powerful, it's almost like
ridiculous.
sickening to me. It's
really
really
sick.
Like I understand like there are streamers out there and YouTubers that wipe their ass with $10,000, right? Like Mr. Beast or, you know, Logan Paul or Shrouds and the Dr. Disrespects, right? But,
Rand.
you know, like, I couldn't imagine. Like, number one, I don't even spend money on microtransactions, period. Like, I balk at $5 for, like, a red gun or, you know, some Halo Infinite stuff. Like, I think that's, I'm like, I ain't spending money on that. Keep $10,000? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
If I had that kind of money to burn, I'd be spending it on charitable donations or something, not stupid gem in a video game. Like I've said before that I'll buy cosmetics to support a game that I really like. Like I bought a bunch of stuff from Monster Hunter World because they gave me a ton of stuff for free. And the issue for me is not necessarily the microtransactions itself, because I realize that's the way the industry is now. The issue for me is more when it creates inequality. You know, it creates inequality between players, and you separate your player base between rich and poor, basically. And that's what Diablo Immortal does. If you're not a paying player, you are basically less powerful than the rich players, which I think is completely wrong. And it goes against what gaming and, you know, the community should be all about. But it's whatever, you know, because I'm sure Blizzard's just laughing, counting all their dollars right now, and they don't give a crap what anyone's saying about it, because Twitch streamers are throwing 10 grand a pop just for the lulz at them, you know.
Yeah, no.
It's sick, man. I think it's genuinely sick, and I hope Microsoft gets rid of all that stuff, because, you know, Microsoft has microtransactions in their game, but none of them are pay to win. Like Microsoft, as far as I'm aware, Microsoft doesn't have a single pay to win game that I'm aware of, in a competitive context at least. Am I right on that?
No. I mean,
I don't think
you're right. I mean, some people would say maybe Halo 5 Warzone, you know, the cards you could call in better weapons and stuff, but I don't think that's pay to win. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you could pay to spawn a tank, right? But it's not like it would necessarily help you win, because it was all gated by your performance and stuff as well, right? I think it's just so funny that game developers are trying to like figure out ways that they can let these rich people throw money at them without completely upsetting the balance of their game, you know? And it's like, how can we let people give us money without completely screwing up the whole game? And that's kind of the balancing act that some of these games try and play, and they're just threw that completely out the window with Diablo Immortal. And I just hope to God they don't put any of that crap in Diablo 4. And I don't think they will. But it's sort of like, it shouldn't even be in the game in the first place. It should be a different game. If they want to do that shit, do it with a franchise that no one cares about, or make up a new franchise. Why'd you have to like abuse the Diablo brand in this way? I don't know. But then I guess it wouldn't be such a big deal if they didn't, so. But no, it doesn't matter what we say, because they're laughing all the way to the bank, no matter what I say. So it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking on Twitter right now, and you already got slothed already. So, yeah.
How?
FYI, according to Jez Corden, the Gears collection won't be shown at the Microsoft Bethesda showcase.
Yeah, Well, I'm pretty sure on that. So
Yeah.
that's all good.
Anyways, so yeah, Diablo Immortal. I'm never gonna play it. But I really quickly, just because I haven't really played it much, I only got to play a couple hours of it. I started the Quarry last night, today. Played it for a couple hours. It's from Supermassive Games. You might know them as the people that do like they did Until Dawn on the PlayStation 4, which I really, really enjoyed. And they make those Dark Pictures games like those, like Man of Medan and House of Ashes and stuff like that. I was really looking forward to this. The reviews were pretty good, and it's kind of like that summer camp horror kind of game. And within the first 10 minutes, I knew this was better than any of their previous their like last 3 games. Like, it was just apparent. Like, it looks better, controls better, music's better, story's better. Like, I was like, okay, I'm in for something. So it's like, it's your typical game from them, though. Follows that good old Telltale formula: walk around, interact with things. You get in some harrowing situations. You got to use the quick time events and pick certain responses and stuff. And people either die or you save them. And I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I'm having a good time with it. So can't wait to actually finish it and get to the end. I'm gonna try to save everybody, but sometimes it can be a little difficult. So, but this is also one of those games, Jez, that doesn't have smart delivery. The Xbox Series X version was separate from the Xbox One version, and it was $10 more. $70 for this game, and then $60 on Xbox One. So
who's the publisher?
2K is the publisher, which
there you go.
Tell you all you need. Yeah. So Sailor Mercury Super Chat says, how likely are we going to get Persona port? Sega ported Yakuza. This one, I'll hand this one off to Jez. Because Jez feels really good about Persona showing up, right? Don't you? And that's not a leak. Do not sloth Jez, because it's not a leak. Don't sloth him, but I mean, you feel it's about time, right? Like, you feel there's more of a chance Persona comes than Final Fantasy, right?
I think, like, this is kind of my bold prediction.
Give me that bold. Don't waffle, Jez. Give me that bold prediction.
I'm waffling, baby. This is the prediction that I want, that I think could happen, that it probably isn't going to happen, but I think Persona hitting Xbox is inevitable at some point.
Ooh, I like that.
Someday. At this show, maybe not. But I think someday. I know they're working on it still. I know they want it to happen. But will it be now? Is the time now? I hope so. I really hope so. But I think it will happen someday.
I like that word. I like that word, inevitable. It's a good one. It's a good word.
Yeah, it reminds me of The Matrix. Where he's talking to Neo, and he's like, it's inevitable.
Everything's inevitable. Yeah. Jesse Darby said, let's see, what did Jesse say here? He said, oh man, I missed it because everything just updated for me. He said Miracle Whip is better. Alexander Dark says, Jez, are you sure, 100% sure the Gears collection isn't real? See, I told you people are getting
99% sure.
99% sure.
So I think you've got more chance of getting a 5-star gem in Diablo Immortal than the Gears collection showing up.
Boo Honky General says Rand got most of his gamer score from Pokemon games. You wish that was true. I only ever played one Pokemon game in my life. It was one more than I needed to play. Never again. And it offered no gamer score, no achievements, because Nintendo doesn't do that stuff. So
it's so weird to me that Nintendo doesn't have an achievement system.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care.
I don't care about anything.
Second Coming says, will we see The Rock shirtless at the Xbox event? Dude,
that's an interesting question.
Dude, look, I am a Rock stan, okay? I love The Rock. I'm unabashedly a big fan of The Rock, mainly because in my formative years in high school, when I was, 15, 16, 17, whatever, like, I was really, really big into wrestling. Really big into WWF at the time, WCW. I think I've told this story before, but Monday nights we would go over to my friend's house, and we'd have the two TVs side by side, one watching WCW, right? WCW Nitro, and the other watching WWF Raw's War. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan, Sting, Kevin Nash, And my favorite guy then was The Rock. And I knew he was going to be a big star back then. And then he eventually became a movie star. So, like, hey, man, I'm a huge fan of The Rock. But that segment with him at Summer Games Fest was pretty awful. Because it just basically, he just was like, script? I don't need a script. I'm just going to talk. Oh, you know what? I'm going to advertise my energy drink. And then, here's my, the trailer for my movie. I'm shilling Black Adam or whatever. It was pretty bad, but it doesn't matter because I can't get enough of The Rock. Love him. Love him.
Oh dear.
I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but
I didn't actually see it because I was like, I'm gonna watch the show, and then I put it on, and I was like, actually, no, I'm gonna pass out and go to sleep. So I just sort of caught up on the trailers after the fact, but yeah, a lot of people, when I was looking at my timeline when I woke up, a lot of people didn't seem particularly happy with it. And I saw that he put out a poll, Jeff Keighley, and he was like, what would you rate it out of A, B, C, and D? And there was a lot of C and Ds.
I voted C.
Most people gave it a B.
Yeah. Jeff said he would give himself a B, so.
I gave him an A, just because I wanted to see what this... I did, because I just wanted to click through the results.
Achievement says, if you had to put a price tag on The Last of Us remake, how much should it be? That's an interesting question. I'll give a quick answer because I think we might talk about this later, depending on how long this podcast goes. But $40-$50. We've seen remakes and stuff, like, they're not always full price. But Sony's gonna charge what they want to charge, and people are gonna buy it. So it's. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You don't.
People are mad because it's $70, right? The Last of Us remake.
Well, they're mad. They're not mad that it's $70, right? They're mad, or some people are mad, because it's more than you basically had Last of Us on the PS3 for $60. Then they remastered it, added 60 frames on the PS4 for $60, I think it was. I'm not sure what the price was on the PS4. Now they're remaking it for the PS5.
Right.
Raising the price to $70, but then removing the multiplayer.
I noticed they've completely revamped Ellie's model as well, so she doesn't look like.
Well, she looks like what she. I mean,
no, she doesn't.
I mean,
they've completely changed them, man.
It doesn't look that different, but I don't know.
Looks different. I think didn't they get sued for stealing some actress's image?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Am I thinking of a different game?
You might be thinking of a different game, but $50. I mean, we might talk a little bit about it more later. Virus says Sony has a demo because how bad the refund system is, and I'm sure Xbox is using demos to promote games, but it should be free for everyone. And that's a general concept I do see from a lot of people, that you shouldn't lock demos behind a paywall. Keyshawn Thompson has been a member for 5 months. Thank you. He says, just happy to be here. Well, I'm happy you're here too, man. Hope everybody's here. Hope everyone's enjoying the show. And if you are, make sure you hit that like button. I don't know. Hopefully we can, let's aim for 700 likes, 800 likes before the show's over. Let's see, scroll through here and see what else we got. Wolf Assassin has been a member for 12 months. Says, anyone else noticed more Japanese gamers tweeting about getting the Xbox? One even said, buy Sony. If you see those tweets, please welcome them, Xbox fam. Yeah, Xbox is selling pretty well in Japan. I think they just sold 11,000 consoles this past week or something. I know
there's another update.
I think Famitsu gave an update.
Oh, nice. I left
or something like that. It was I think it was 11,000, maybe a little bit less than that.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, it seems to be doing pretty well. I mean, it's never gonna do
up and up, man.
It's never gonna do Switch numbers, and it's never gonna do PlayStation 5 numbers, but it's looking like it'll outsell the original Xbox. I don't know if it'll ever catch the 360, but you know, it's doing work. It's doing work over there. Just imagine if they actually could get Japanese content that, you know, they would want to play over there. It'd be maybe doing a little bit better. Shab's inevitable.
In the console, even now. So.
Says, I am inevitable. He is inevitable. Faisal says, is Kojima going to show something in our leaks of the show true? All right, let's talk about the Kojima thing. A couple things we could talk about here. So, Tom Henderson leaked the Kojima game. It's basically called Overdose. We don't know many details other than supposedly the titles of the game, Overdose. Apparently, I forget how do you say, like Margot Quilley, who was in Death Stranding. I probably said her name wrong. She played Mama in Death Stranding, is basically the main character in this game. You can play it in first or third person. There's some reports that like people have seen it being played like on iPads and like mobile and stuff like that. And we do know that from the early reports was that Kojima was working with Stadia on a cloud-based horror game. And the reports are that this is a horror game. So, Jeff Grubbs talked about how Xbox and Kojima are working together, that they signed a letter of intent. So I'm just going to ask you, because I haven't talked to you about this. What are the odds? Because I thought for sure when Henderson leaked Kojima's game, I thought, you know what? That's going to end Keighley's show. Because you know how tight Keighley and Kojima are, right?
They're bros, man.
They're bros. I mean, like, Jeff Keighley was crying so badly when Konami wouldn't let Kojima come to the Game Awards, right? They're just two peas in a pod. And I thought for sure, I was like, well, this game leaked, so it's got to be revealed. But it was Last of Us that was revealed at the end, even though Sony leaked that game. So that begs the question. Number one, is this an Xbox game? And two, will we see it on Sunday? And I'm going to send it to you. No waffling. I want a firm yes or no. Give me your reasons. I know you don't know, so there's no reason to send this all over the internet, sloth, if you're listening, because I know you are. So, what do you think?
Well, you're right in saying that I don't know, because I don't know. I have no idea if this is or isn't. But my gut instinct says it isn't.
Why does your why does your gut instinct say it's not?
Because, judging from the title, Overdose,
which could be a fake out. It's Kojima.
It could be a fake out. But if it is called Overdose, that probably says it's gonna have like a drugs theme, right? And my gut instinct is that Microsoft would be nervous to publish a game that had controversial themes. So that's why I don't think it is. But I could be wrong. So here comes the waffle. Maybe it is.
Don't waffle. I want a definitive. No waffling. No, I don't know. Just
I don't know. Yeah, you got
no. There's none of this. I don't know. Just yes or no.
Have the waffle. Have the waffle, baby. It's a
Jesus
waffle,
Christ.
baby.
We can't even get you to say
cheese on it. Some cheese on it. That was funny in England. Waffles, what we consider to be waffles, are made of potato.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, so here's what I think.
Go on. Let's hear it.
I'm just trying to gather my thoughts here because
I'm sitting here. I'm listening.
I know because unlike you, I'm not gonna waffle.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You're not gonna waffle.
I'm not gonna waffle.
Okay.
I'm gonna be very definitive, and I'm probably gonna be wrong either way. I don't know. So.
Okay. Here we go.
I would say that this is the Xbox game. I think everything lines up for it to be the Xbox game. And I do think that would be a major announcement at an Xbox show. Kojima and Xbox working together on some sort of exclusive, even if it is a cloud-based game, mobile, on your Xbox, whatever. The thing that gives me pause about going all the way and saying yes is because the newly crowned PlayStation Insider. So yes, guys, I don't know if you know this, but there is actually a PlayStation Insider. You know, for a long while, there have been PlayStation dudes claiming to be insiders that get completely everything wrong. We've made fun of them on this podcast, right? They keep on trying to do the whole insider game, and they keep on being wrong all the time. Now, broken clocks can be right a couple times, a day. And things, you can just make guesses and you can be correct. But here's a guy, I believe his name is The Snitch on Twitter. He leaked the state of play with everything in it days before it. He said the name Overdose of the game before Tom Henderson leaked it. He also gave the release date of Last of Us Part 1 days before, Summer Games Fest. So, with everything we know about it, cloud-based horror game, right, that makes me think that this is the Xbox game. The one thing that makes me think it's not is that this guy seems to have PlayStation contacts. And he's leaking PlayStation stuff. So I'm conflicted because
Sorry, go on.
Well, because my heart says yes, just say it's an Xbox game, but then my brain says no, because why would this PlayStation leaker know about an Xbox exclusive? And supposedly, there's pictures of Kojima at one of Sony's mocap studios. So would they be letting Kojima use that mocap studio to make a game for Xbox? So a lot of things to think about when you're doing this. So you're just out here just blabbing your mouth. I don't know, drugs. Microsoft wouldn't like that. Blah 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 blah. And I'm trying to honestly logically think through this. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, man,
I'm out of the loop a little bit. So
Microsoft won't publish a game like that, but they're going to publish Hellblade 2, which has themes of mental illness and schizophrenia and all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
but that's ultimately a positive theme, though.
Well, who's to say this isn't also a positive theme?
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. That was just
I believe
without any sort of info.
The name of the main character in the game is Heroin, or like heroin, or it's some play on heroin or something.
Dude, Microsoft ain't gonna publish that.
Dude, I think why wouldn't they? It's Kojima.
Because they don't.
All right.
They wouldn't.
So do you not believe Jeff Grubb?
Did Jeff Grubb say Overdose was the
No,
Xbox
Jeff
game?
Grubb has not said that Overdose is the game, but Jeff Grubb has said that they're working together.
Well, I think they might be working together, but I think Microsoft would editorialize that to death. So I personally don't think that's the Xbox
I think
game.
Kojima would fight back against any editorializing. Kojima seems like the type of guy that's like, you're paying me to work for you or make a game for you. You're not going to have any creative control. It's all me.
Yeah, sure. But then Microsoft would say, well, see ya.
Okay, I mean, fair enough.
We don't want this associated with our brand.
All right, fair enough. So you're saying no?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
making a game with Kojima.
Look, so one of us is gonna be right. One of us is gonna be right. I'm gonna say yes. I'm saying that this is the Xbox game. And you know what? Kojima was in that hype video Xbox put out a few days ago. Do you remember seeing it? The one where they said the word Xbox 23 times. Xbox just has 23 studios, and who was in that Xbox hype video? None other than Kojima himself.
So you think Microsoft bought Kojima Productions?
Maybe it's just a tease, bro. Maybe it's just a tease when we look back on it.
Yeah, maybe.
So you know what? I'm gonna have fun, okay? You're being like party pooper. Xbox wouldn't do this. Drugs are bad, okay? Right? So they're not gonna do it. They're not working with. This isn't the game. I'm gonna say, you know what? One of us is gonna be right. Yes, this is Kojima's game. Yes, this is gonna be at the Xbox show.
I think it's too edgy. Too edgy.
Fair enough. And once again, because I gotta reiterate this, I don't know shit. Jez doesn't know shit. This is all just fun. One of us is gonna be right. I hope it's me.
It's gonna be me.
So,
what if it's an Apple Arcade game?
I mean, I guess that could be possible.
That's one theory that I've seen bandied around, that it's an Apple game. But even then, would Apple greenlight something called Overdose with a heroine called Heroin? I don't know.
I don't know.
Because that seems out of scope for Apple too, personally. But I could be wrong. Here's the waffle. Here comes the waffle. I could be wrong, but you know, at the same time,
waffle. We have to stop your waffling. You do it all the time.
Dude, I am like, do you know why? It's because I'm protective of my track record. I've never been wrong.
Well,
never been wrong.
Yeah, but you always say that your track record on Windows Central is the one that you care about. We've been wrong plenty of times. I mean, you were wrong this year. You said there was no chance Starfield was getting delayed. You're already wrong, bro.
I said I could be wrong.
No, when it came to Starfield, you never said that. You never ended your sentences with Starfield saying I could be wrong.
Well. How about this, right? It's still launching in the same fiscal year. So I was right. I was right all along.
Okay.
I wasn't wrong. It's still launching in fiscal year 2023. So was it delayed? Really?
Yes, Jez, because they gave it a release date, 11/11/22, which is now going to be the new release date of God of War Ragnarok.
When I said it wouldn't be delayed, what I really meant, Rand, was that it wouldn't be delayed out of fiscal year.
Oh, okay. No,
that's
revisionist history, huh?
No, it's not revisionist. That's literally what I meant.
Okay.
It's not your fault if you misinterpreted what I said. That's not my fault, bro.
So Paul says, Jez, so you're saying Scalebound has a better chance of being there than the Gears collection? Oh, damn.
Yes, I believe that. I believe Scalebound has a better chance of being there than the Gears collection. There, I said it.
Damn,
maybe this could be the thing that I'm wrong about.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Can you imagine with how definitive you are about the Gears collection if it shows up on Sunday? Boo! Talk about your precious record. Ooh.
Well, you know, I did say I could be wrong.
You'd have to go to Special Nick and tell him you're sorry.
Why? Did Nick say it was coming at the show?
No, I don't think. No, Nick did not say it was coming at the show. Nick just said that it's in production somewhere.
In production,
maybe will come out at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
But he never did say that it was going to be at this showcase. So
I'm sure it'll happen someday, like in 2 or 3 generations when graphics are hyper realistic and they need to upgrade it. But I don't think it's being made right now.
Trey Duke says, do you think they're going to show Scalebound gameplay or just a CGI trailer? See, look what you did.
Look what I did. Oh man, I did put out a tweet the other day that when Microsoft buys Activision, they could rebrand Scalebound as a Spyro game.
Yeah,
they could call it Spyro Bound.
So how do you? So let's talk about briefly that you leaked this Crash game, this Crash. What are you calling it? A Crash Bash something? 4-player?
No, it's Wumpa League.
Is that with the Liam Robinson? I think coined that term, like the Wumpa League thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I understand. They called it internally, though.
Okay.
So I don't think he just made that up. But
no, I don't think. I'm just saying it. But it sounded like I went through a reboot of some kind or reconfiguring.
Yeah, I've got a theory about that. I got a theory that like during the pandemic, they had Toys for Bob helping out with Call of Duty. So the development on Wumpa League, or whatever it's called, was on hold. And now that Call of Duty's sorted itself out a bit, they've gone back to finish it off. That's my theory. You know, I have no evidence about that, but I know that it's coming, and it looks pretty cool.
You think we'll see that?
Sounds pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hopefully nobody's listening to the show. There's not like, I don't know, over thousands of people watching right now. Do you think that game is at the Xbox showcase on Sunday then?
I was thinking that it was going to be at the summer thingy.
I thought so too. Yeah,
I thought it'd be there because it's typically an IP associated with PlayStation, and I was thinking like they wouldn't want to. My assumption would be that it'd have PlayStation marketing, like the other Crash stuff, right? Because the other Crash games have PlayStation marketing, right? Unless I'm going crazy and making things up.
Usually they do, yes.
Yeah, so that was my assumption, that it'd be like a PlayStation associated thing, but it could be that it's not ready for them to show off yet, or they're not ready to, they haven't built a trailer yet or whatever, but I know that it's in testing. The game's in testing. and I know quite a lot about it. From what I understand, I think it's a free-to-play kind of game. Kind of looks like they're positioning it in a similar kind of way to that. What's that game? Splatoon kind of thing, where it's sort of like it's a competitive game, but it's not really violent kind of thing, you know. Um, with Overwatchy kind of mechanics, sort of, where you have to get Wumpa fruit. I don't know, but yeah, that's a thing. Could it be at the Xbox show? I guess maybe, but my gut says no. My gut says it'd probably be later on now. I think maybe we show up somewhere else, or they'll just announce it on Twitter or something. But I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Marcus Harrison says Gears Collection may not be real, but what about a Unreal Engine 5 Gears Remake remaster? What do you think? Splitting hairs here on this, Jez?
Unreal Engine, what? Sorry.
Like the Gears Collection may not be real, but you know, what about the Unreal Engine 5 Gears Remake or whatever?
If they like Gears 1 or Gears 2, well, they've already remade Gears 1. So
Yeah.
like, could they do Gears 2 for an anniversary or something? When's the 10-year anniversary of that game? Has it already happened? It might have already happened.
Gears 2 came out in 2008. So yeah, 10 years has already passed. Gears
Jeez.
3, I want to say Gears 3 came out in what, 2011, I want to say? And then Gears Judgment came out in 2013. So we're already past the 10-year anniversary of Gears 3, so
I'm old, Rand. I'm old. This is your fault. You made me feel old now. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they could do Gears. I'm sure one day they'll come back and look at it, but it's not going to be anytime soon. Those games have literally been like upscaled on xCloud, and they're sort of not xCloud, on backwards compatibility, and they literally used them as like look at how good our backwards compatibility stuff is. And if you're gonna go back and do a remaster now after doing that, it's kind of like, oh, actually our upscaling stuff isn't that good because we had to remaster the whole game. For me, it doesn't make any sense personally. But...
So I sent this to you earlier, and I wanted to get a definitive answer from you.
Well, that happened.
Because we don't need waffles. So Machine Games, you know, they Michael Gregory, who's a recruiter at Bethesda, basically said, "This is not a drill, people. The countdown has begun. Who else is ready for the Xbox Bethesda Game Showcase on Sunday?" And then Machine Games basically, I think this is on LinkedIn, or maybe this is on Twitter. I don't know. They replied to that and said, "We are so excited for Sunday's showcase. Hope you all are ready for it." Now, a lot of people have been hoping for a surprise Wolfenstein. What's the proper way to say it? I think people say I say it wrong. Wolfenstein? Okay. So they could either show a Wolfenstein or an Indiana Jones. So does this tweet mean that Machine Games is going to show up, or are they just showing support for their parent company? Give me
Nah, I think that's a lock. I put Indiana Jones as a lock.
You think Indiana Jones is a deadlock, huh?
I think it's a lock. The game's like, the movie's coming out. The game's been in development for a while. It's a lock, baby.
You know, that's interesting because I agree with you. In my video, I said Indiana Jones was going to end the show. I said Todd would give the demo of Starfield as the ender, but then he would look at the camera and says, "But wait, there's one more thing." And they roll the trailer for Indiana Jones. So even though they end on even though Starfield closes the show, the ender is actually Indiana Jones.
I like that rumor.
Rumor. I mean, it's literally something I made up. What do you mean?
Man, I'm ill. Leave me alone. I like that theory.
I like that too.
Rand. Yeah, your theory that totally isn't a leak.
None of this is because I don't know anything. You know,
I'm joking.
In my video, I said that I felt Avowed was going to open the showcase and then Starfield / Indiana Jones would end. I'm starting to think that Redfall's going to open and Starfield's going to end with Indiana Jones being the stinger at the end.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I don't know. I've been going a lot of back and forth about what games could open, and like Avowed made sense, but I was like, what about Redfall? Because I think Redfall's going to come out before Avowed. So Yeah, so I think we both agree that Machine Game's going to show up. I mean, I'm crossing my fingers. And I hope they show up with both games. Machine, Indiana Jones and or Wolfenstein 3. For all my guys over at the official Xbox thread over at Reset Era, the only thread worth visiting on that website. You know what they've done over there, Jez? They've actually taken their avatars and put on Wolfenstein 3 helmets. They call themselves the True Believers or whatever.
That's brilliant.
So, because they're like, we're the true believers. Nobody else believes that Wolfenstein 3's, going to be announced at the showcase. So they all wear these Wolfenstein 3 helmets. It's kind of funny. So
that's brilliant.
I mean, I would love to be wrong. I mean, a Wolfenstein 3 game coming this year or next year. Hell yeah, sign me the F up. But I think it's Indiana Jones.
That scans. I think it's Indiana Jones too. I think it might be. Basically, I think the theme of this show is the next fiscal year. I think they're going to talk about mainly the games that are coming out in the next 12 months between summer this year and summer next year, because Microsoft's fiscal year starts in July, and which is why Starfield technically didn't get delayed. If we're talking fiscally, Rank.
Yeah. Whatever.
So, but yeah, I think because I don't think Wolfenstein is going to come out in the next fiscal year, I would make the assumption that they wouldn't announce it at the show. But maybe one of the things I did speculate on in my article was the possibility of announcing at least a couple of games with a CGI teaser that are a bit further out. Games that maybe they need to hire for, games that maybe they need to put out there because they're going to start getting contractors on them soon, and maybe that's when things start getting a bit leaky, when you've got agency staff involved and stuff like that. I don't know. That is just speculation, but I think that could be one of the games that I would personally believe that they would announce with CGI trailer. If they're going to announce any of them, Wolfenstein might be one of them. But
yeah,
could be wrong. Could be wrong.
I just want to give a big shout out to the well over 2,000 people watching the show right now.
Wow.
Thank you guys for being here. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you. And if you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like button. I see we're at 600, so I don't know. Can we get all the way to 1,000 before the show's over? That'd be pretty damn cool. Did you see this? Did you see this fake leak list? I see some people in chat wanted me to briefly talk about it, but I sent it to you, right? Wolfenstein 3, the new Führer, by the name Killer Instinct Omega, the Mandalorian, Banjo Kazooie, the bear and the bear and the bird. It's obviously it's fake because it's ridiculous. These off-screen leaks like this are all stupid, but they have the Forza Horizon 5 DLC as El Dia de los Muertos, which would be, that would actually give me second. I'd be like, you know what, that seems, but then it already leaked and we know what it is. So, it's just kind of some of these names, man. Paradise Clause for Compulsion's game, I mean, all right. Paradise. Relics Blade for the Stoic Studios game.
Well, to be fair, Paradise Clause, Microsoft is pretty terrible at naming things, so
that is true. They definitely are awful. And in Exile,
I do as much as I love the Xbox Series S and X, they don't have the best names. Let's be real.
No,
let's be completely real.
You're 100% real on this one. So, Alexito in the Super Chat says, "Hi, Jez and legendary insider Rand. Did you guys see that Persona 5 isn't on the PlayStation console exclusive page anymore? Is it happening?" Same thing happened to Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I guess find out. Wait till Sunday. I guess you don't have long to wait. We could know the answers in 2 days. So, yeah. Faisal says, "Isn't Project Mars supposed to be about mental health and drugs? I suppose. So I don't think it's out of the realm of getting shown by Xbox." That's what I was trying to tell Jez, but he's on this.
Yeah, but Kojima, I just kind of know Kojima's games and where he'll go with it. Kojima pushes buttons and courts controversy, and I don't think Microsoft's about that. I think Microsoft I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I've misjudged this stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. One of us is going to be right, and it's
Yeah,
going to
and
be
it's gonna be
me.
me.
It's going to be me.
It's
William
gonna
Burke
be me.
says,
Why do you say that with an accent? Gonna be me.
it's going to the NSYNC thing. You know, it's going to be me. You know? You know, you never seen that meme before or anything?
So you're a closet in
No,
fan?
I'm just saying, like, you've never seen
Oh,
that meme before?
that's Justin Timberlake, right?
Yeah, Justin Timberlake, yes.
Yeah, Justin Timberlake. You like Justin Timberlake?
I mean, I think he's a talented singer, songwriter, dancer. Yeah. I mean, there's no
He's pretty
denying that. I don't really care for his music, but he's pretty talented.
I wonder
Anyways,
if maybe he's partnering with Xbox on a game.
yeah.
Maybe what Rand's maybe that was like a tease from Rand and
No, there's no tease. Although, guys, Jez does think Xbox is teasing something with that image of a tree with the Xbox logo in the middle.
Yeah, I do.
What do you think it could be?
Conspiracy theory. I don't know. Xbox tree? I don't know. That's my conspiracy theory. I got a conspiracy theory that the tree means something. It means something, right? I'm convinced of it. I don't know what it means, but it means something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe some people in chat, in chat and on Spotify, I'll ask the question, what could the Xbox tree mean? Because for those who don't know, they posted a strange image of a tree that looked really cool, and they had put effort into that tree, with light bars and stuff with the Xbox logo, and I was like, that tree there's too much effort gone into that tree for that to mean nothing. But maybe I'm just going crazy. I don't know. But I don't know.
and I'm gonna make a poll because I'm interested in seeing what people's thoughts are here about how hyped you are for the Xbox Bethesda showcase, and I'm doing it from scale of it would be 1 to 10, but I can't really do that. So I have 4 options here: 9 to 10, 7 to 8, 5 to 6, 3 to 4. So I'm interested in hearing about how hyped you guys are for the showcase. So I'm gonna put this poll up in chat and see what everybody says. So William Burke says, let me just get here. William Burke says, do you guys think there'll be any other Capcom stuff before TGS? Mega Man Tyson, Dragon's Dogma 2, LP 1 and 2 Remaster, or RE Outbreak? I mean, I think, isn't Capcom doing a show next week as well? Could have sworn I saw that.
Tuesday, I think. Unless I'm going mad.
Yeah, I want to say they showed something yesterday, or they have a show next week.
Yeah, they do.
I think they said it's going to be mostly focused on already announced content. Maybe there's a slight chance that Dragon Dogmas 2 gets announced, but it definitely seems like it's going to be focused on Resident Evil 4 and Street Fighter 6 and their current games. I don't think we'll see. I don't think we'll see like any of the other stuff. But Capcom's killing it, man. Capcom's. You got like Ubisoft doing worse and worse, and it's just Capcom's just doing better and better. Andrew,
Capcom is making the industry look bad. Capcom and Devolver, man, they're both on fire lately.
Andrew said, "Did Rand just make a South Park movie reference?" Maybe I did. I don't know. I've completely forgot about it if I did. That's while Gordon says, Kojima mentioned in an interview last year that one of his projects got canceled. This could be that game. Yeah, I guess it's possible. Tech Money says, got arrested for drugs. Cops said I had contraband. Okay. Let's see.
I mean that is a fair point, but I guess without context it's hard to judge. But I don't know. Kojima's not known for subtlety on some of these things. Subtlety and nuance when dealing with sensitive topics, shall we say.
Achievement says, if Indiana Jones is Ender, it's got to be exclusive. I mean, it could be timed exclusive. I don't know. Ralph Wiggum says, let's hit 1,000 likes, people. You guys rock. Hope you feel better, Jez. Thank you, Ralph. And thank you, everybody in chat. Ooh, I see Mr. Fun Speculation in the chat. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Sleepy Goblin 2D, all the channel members, appreciate you always supporting. All the lurkers out there, you don't got to say anything, but me and Jez love that you're here, and all the support you guys throw us for the super chats is always amazing as well. Like, any way you support the show, the most important is just listening. And we still love everybody who listens later on Google Play and iTunes and stuff, so you are all our children, and we love you very much. Let's see what else we got here. RDX Uneffet says, no drug games. Also, Jez, there's Project Contraband. Well, Contraband was Project Typhoon, I believe. Right, Jez?
Yeah, what he's saying is that I said that they won't make games about drugs, but then they're making Contraband. Which is fair enough, And also, they own Fallout now, I guess. But
it's a different Xbox, Jez. It's a different Xbox.
Yeah, maybe. But I also think it's Kojima's way of doing things when it comes to controversial topics that I think would be the thing that I give Microsoft pause. But, maybe it's a different Xbox, like Rand said. And I think, it's something I've criticized Microsoft for before, where I think they want to avoid any sort of, I don't know, sort of rough edges in the narratives of their games and stuff like that. And I don't know. So that was that, because you asked me to give you a reason, and that was like the best one I could come up with. But maybe it's just BS. But yeah.
George says, after listening to Jeff Grubb and you guys, I'm tempering my expectations. They're to the ground. I mean, I don't know why you would say that, because Jeff said he doesn't know the show.
Yeah, none of us know the show.
Nobody knows the show, so, I mean, I couldn't know to tell you to temper your expectations or raise them, because I don't know what's there. And that's what makes it so damn exciting. I mean, it could suck. I mean, we could all watch this on Sunday and be like, God damn, Xbox they just screwed up. Or we could all watch this show and be like, whew, did you see all those games Xbox has? Man, 2023 is looking stacked. Look at all those exclusives. Look at all those games coming to Game Pass. That was the best Xbox show ever. And they didn't even show Fable or Perfect Dark or State of Decay 3 or announce all these other games that we know they're working on.
Yeah.
We'll find out. We'll find out on Sunday. Hitch says Gears Collection doesn't exist. Sad PC gamer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main argument for it, really, is to bring it to PC, but I don't think they need to remaster it to do that. But,
yeah.
Oh well.
Second Coming says tree equals family tree. Tree equals family. Tree equals family. Tree equals family equals Vin Diesel equals Arc 2. So there you go. Arc 2.
Yeah, I think that's one game that probably will be there.
And Chinook Guy says, can you tell us about Project Chinook? I'm very interested.
I mean, no, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't tell you about that. But what I can tell you is it's another strategy game. So if you're hoping Chinook was like an action game or a shooter or something, it's probably not going to be for you. But it's a strategy game that sounds quite unique. It's not like a full-blown RTS, from what I understand. I think people who want something a bit more accessible would probably be excited to see that. So stay tuned, I would say.
Yeah, just can't leak everything. Sorry.
Can't leak everything.
So let's talk about. I guess you didn't really watch Summer Games Fest, did you? And I was just briefly going to talk about it because Jez didn't bother watching it. I did. I did like to focus on. What?
I was ill, so I didn't watch
it. You were ill. Yes. I watched it. It's 2 hours long.
Wow, that's long.
I give it a C. I like to focus on sci-fi games. Like, I think the standout was the Callisto Protocol. They showed like a 2-minute straight gameplay demo, Jazz. Magnifique. Oh. God, that game. I cannot wait for that game.
It looks amazing. It does.
But then it was just, there's too much talking. The rock thing was ridiculous. But it was it was a great show for Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. Because we got Warhammer. They showed a trailer for Warhammer 40K, and these were games that basically couldn't fit into the Xbox show, and they gave them to Jeff. Like, that's how packed the Xbox show is. because these games are all Game Pass Day 1 games. And also, people are saying that Plague's Tale Requiem was just shown off at the Tribeca Film Festival as well as Dusk Falls, which means they're probably also not going to be at the Xbox show if they're showing them off here, right?
Oh.
So, yeah. So, Warhammer 40K. What's the it's Warhammer 40K Darktide looks really good. I mean, I really like Vermintide and Vermintide 2. They're great co-op games. They look great. They run great. They're a lot of fun to play in co-op, and this one looks just as fun. That one's coming on September. Then you got Routine, which was this cool-ass looking 80s sci-fi game. That's coming day 1 in Game Pass, Xbox console exclusive. Midnight Fight Express, which I believed they said was from one guy, kind of reminded me of like oh man, what's that? Now I'm blanking on the type of game that it reminded me of, but it was like Hotline Miami. It reminded me of like a more realistic Hotline Miami, because Hotline Miami was all like stylized and stuff, but it looks cool. That's coming to Game Pass on day 1. And maybe the surprise announcement for Game Pass was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge launching next week. It's got 6-player co-op, and it's debuting on Game Pass on day 1. So,
yeah, that is unexpected.
But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of content there that I would have expected to see in this Xbox show, because it's just like all Game Pass stuff, And because it's not at the Xbox show, it's like, well, God, what are they showing there then? Because they've also, you think about it, they've also got the extended show, which they've said specifically is for extended gameplay looks. So that presumably means that all the trailers they're going to show at E3 are maybe like between 2 and 5 minutes long, right?
Well, yeah, so like that's the other thing we need to talk about. So they announced the extended showcase, which is coming live on Tuesday. Now, me and Jez both have talked about the idea of Halo Infinite not being at the main show. But do you think it shows up here at the extended showcase?
Well, that's the thing. They've kind of hinted that it will be, right?
Yeah.
Because some people saw in one of their teaser sort of marketing things that if you look in the background, the date of the extended showcase appears in the background somewhere, which could be taken as a hint. And this is why, Rand, I'm sure the tree means something. Because Microsoft marketing team, they're sneaky. They hide things. Yeah, they're like putting the Series S in Phil Spencer's webcam and stuff. They are sneaky boys. They sneak things into the background and they act like it doesn't mean nothing. But that tree, it's so abstract. It has to mean something. I refuse to accept that tree doesn't mean nothing. But I digress, Rand. I digress. What could it actually be? It's I think it could be at the show, the extended show, and I think this could be where they talk about Tatanka and stuff like that. But maybe Tatanka's further out. Maybe they won't talk about Tatanka there. Maybe we need to wait a bit longer for that. But maybe they'll talk about what Season 3 is going to look like, or what changes they're making, or if they're going to bring back some modes to keep people satisfied in the interim. Well, sounds like they're still...
Joseph Staten on Kind of Funny XCast sort of teased like legacy maps potentially coming to Halo.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Because I do think... I kind of think it would be a bad look for Halo not to show up at all. Like, even at the main showcase. I mean, that was the game. And then it doesn't show up. But if you're doing an extended showcase, you can show up and just talk about, like, okay, here's a glimpse at Forge, glimpse at co-op, here's some new maps, and maybe a thing at Tatanka, and then move on. Because I would presume Todd's going to be there to talk about Starfield, right? We'll probably see more of it. And they did say that all the content at this extended showcase is brand new. So, like, none of it's going to be repeated from the showcase on Sunday. So then, Redfall, like, Avowed, I mean, I don't know. Like, you're going to have, 3 hours of content to watch on Sunday and then on Tuesday.
That's certainly what it looks like.
And it doesn't sound like Paris is hosting it this year. He hasn't said anything, so that's interesting. So yeah, they also mentioned I don't know if you saw this, but Halo Infinite, they mentioned that co-op campaign is going to be flighting starting in July, and
Yeah.
yeah, so future of Xbox, Jez. I think it's time we need to talk about this. The future of Xbox.
The future.
Um, but first, gonna answer the super chat from the Don, who says, "How are we feeling about the console version of Bright Memory Infinite showing up? Been quiet on it for a long time." Yeah, right. That was the first game we saw out of everything for next gen. That was at that very first April or May showcase. It was Bright Memory Infinite, and it's still not out yet. And we only got Bright Memory, which was it was awful game.
Yeah,
So,
I think there's a lot of overhype about this game, personally, because at the end of the day, this is like it's being made by one dev, and if you play the demo Bright Memory, it didn't feel good. It did not feel good. So it looked good in the trailer, but honestly, I feel like it didn't play very well. But I don't know. I sort of it's one game that could be there, but I also think that's a game that has kind of overhyped itself to the point where they're probably going to be working on it for quite a while before we actually see a finished product. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they got some funding. Maybe they ramped it up and stuff. But my gut feeling is no. No,
all right.
it's always no. I think there's going to be nothing at the show. I think the show is just going to be a dark stage. Phil Spencer walks out and he says video games over and over for an hour and then leaves.
That would be certainly something. We got a super head chat here from Manus, who says, "Is there a little chance that Zenless Zone Zero coming to Xbox Series X and S too?" I think that's the game that from the Genshin Impact devs that was talked about at the Summer Games Fest. I probably would hazard a guess and say no.
Yeah, I think a lot of these games are just skipping Xbox unless Microsoft gives them money. And I think that's one game that will probably skip Xbox because a lot of devs are just thinking we can target PC and mobile and just skip console altogether, unless someone pays for us to offset the development costs and that. So it's one issue that all the big console manufacturers are sort of facing. And, Diablo Immortal, a lot of the narrative around Diablo Immortal revolves around its microtransactions, but that's just within our community, really. The fact of the matter remains that there's a whole generation of kids who this is all they know. All they know is a phone and pay to win, And all these games that piss us off and give us grief, they're still raking in tons of cash because there's a whole generation of people who've never owned a console and don't care to own a console, and all they've played is free-to-play games. And the idea of spending $60 or indeed $70 on a game is just completely alien to them. There's a split emerging in the sort of in the market in general between sort of free-to-play games and premium games and sort of classic console games and pay-to-win games, basically. And that divide's getting bigger and bigger. And a lot of these big publishers, they're trying to figure out, how do we navigate this scary world where, the next generation of kids won't even consider spending this kind of money on a game. But I don't know, that's a completely another discussion. But that is why some of these games, I think, they won't even target console because they feel like they should be paid something for the privilege. And they're kind of thinking, well, that's going to take a lot of dev time away from us, and the console gamers even want to play these kind of games. And also, more to the point is, can we compete with the AAA games that are there, like your Call of Duties and stuff? It's almost like a different market, but I guess we'll see how it evolves over time.
Okay.
I would hope that Genshin's been successful. Well, I would hope that Genshin's been successful on PlayStation, but we've never seen it hit another platform. The weirdest one for me is that Genshin's not on Nintendo Switch. That is so weird to me. What the hell? I mean, does that indicate that Sony's paying for exclusivity? They have to be, right? Because that game would make ridiculous money on the Switch, I would have assumed.
I don't know. Aquaman wants to know what IPs will Xbox own Activision Blizzard revive, do you think?
That could be a pretty long discussion.
I mean,
I think they'll invest in the mascot IPs like Crash and Spyro, because that's something that potentially Microsoft lacks. But at the same time, like, it kind of contradicts what I said earlier. Do today's kids even give a crap about those kind of games?
I mean,
Probably
Phil's
not.
talked about the need for E-rated content on the platform in Game Pass.
Yeah.
You know, Crash would give you that, so would Spyro. I mean, when
But the kids even want that now. They want free to play trending games that are cool on TikTok. They don't want to play Crash or Spyro.
I mean, maybe that's going to be them to determine. Like, you know, when they originally made the deal, they talked about Guitar Hero, right?
See, that's Guitar Hero is one game that could be that, but then you fall into all these licensing pitfalls, which, you know, creates a kettle of fish, especially when it comes to streaming them, right? Like,
yeah.
it's one of the Guitar Hero presents a problem for the streaming generation.
The major problem that they have is that all of the Activision studios work on Call of Duty. Did you see that all 9 of their studios have worked on Modern Warfare 2? Because they showed it off. Like, that's the main problem. It's like, yeah, Xbox may want to revive a lot of the Activision Blizzard stuff, but they're going to have to pull some devs off of Call of Duty to be able to do it. But Call of Duty is so big.
Call of Duty goes to a 2-year cycle, I think.
Well, probably, but it's still so big that one studio, like, so you're going to have Infinity Ward working on their thing, Treyarch working on their thing, Raven's going to be doing Warzone. So it's like there's 3 studios that are just constantly doing it, right? And then, you know, got Beanox and High Moon Studios and Choice, like, so they're going to have to pull. And it's like they've been working on a 3-year schedule up until recently. The pandemic screwed everything up. So if they're going to 2 years, I don't think Infinity Ward can make a game. You know, like, so they're during 2022, and well, actually that could work because then Treyarch's 2024, which would then be Infinity Ward would be 2026, and then
I think
that would
definitely
work.
goes to a 2-year cycle. I mean, I already saw people eye roll in Modern Warfare 2, and I know Modern Warfare 2 is going to do very well. Obviously, it is, but I do feel like the steam's starting to run out, and people are starting to get fed up of the same game over and over and over and over, you know. And but maybe it doesn't matter because, you know, you bring in new blood and you bring in like kids who might want to play it and explore it and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's kind of like I feel like Microsoft will set that off to a 2-year dev cycle. I really believe that, and that'll free them up to give the game a rest for a little while to let it breathe, give the devs more time to actually innovate, and also let some of the support studios work on some of the stuff, like those dead IPs, like your Guitar Heroes, like your Skylanders maybe, and stuff like that. But I think like there's also IP that could be handed off to some Microsoft devs. Like Hexen could easily go to id Software. It's their game. Like id Software made Hexen, but Activision own it, which is why they haven't been working on it for a million years. So that's one game that you could see move across. I also think games like Prototype could see a revival at one of the current studios, maybe. Like, I don't know. Like, or they could license it out, and maybe after Contraband is come out, and Contraband is done with, maybe that could be like Avalanche. Do you want to work on a new prototype? Because I think Avalanche is probably the ideal studio to make a modern prototype, probably.
Yeah.
So there's a lot they could do with it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot they could do. So the poll, Jez, we have over 1,079 votes, almost like 1,080. How hyped are you for the Xbox Bethesda showcase? And it's pretty high. It's pretty high for the top one. I just ended the poll, so let's see what we got here. We got 3 to 4, 2%, 5 to 6, 4%, 7 to 8, 28%, and 9 to 10, 64%.
So
So
a lot of hype then.
it definitely is a lot of hype. People are excited, which great. I'm all for that. I'm excited myself.
I think I'm up at a like 9 right now, to be
Yeah,
honest.
you're at a 9. I saw Clobrill's at a 9. I'm at a 9. Yeah, it's exciting. Alvin says, "quote A lot of devs are skipping Xbox, yet not a single PlayStation third-party exclusive was shown yesterday. 3 for Xbox, by the way. Times are changing.
Fair
So
point. Fair point.
times they do be a changing." Atticus says that tree is for Avatar, and it'll be day one Game Pass. Lol. Can't wait for Sunday. Hope to see a Splinter Cell tease. Get well, Jez. Rand needs an app. What is this Rand needs an app shit? What is going on with it? I don't know. I see this quite a bit. Like, what do you mean I need an app? What's going on?
Why does Rand need a nap?
Yeah, what's up with that? What's up? Am I missing something? But Splinter Cell, whoo. I mean, whew. We know they are making a Splinter Cell remake, so
I hope it's a turn-based tactics game with pay-to-win elements.
shut up with this tactics. Do you know what Jez said to me in DMs earlier? He's like, I hope every game is just a tactics game. I'm like, I literally would quit gaming. I literally would just stop. I would just stop gaming if everything was a tactics, RTS, turn-based stuff. I'd literally just stop.
I can't remember where this came from, but I had the vaguest rumor a while ago that there might be a Halo Tactics game.
Really?
I had the vaguest rumor about this. A while ago. Like I had over a year ago, I had a little rumor about it, and then more recently I had a little rumor about it. Like, unverified, so don't quote me on this at all, please. Don't sloth me, because there's no evidence whatsoever. But I was just thinking, yeah, that makes sense to me. I would play a Halo Tactics game.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope it's
You're
true,
getting
and I
sloth,
hope
bro.
yeah, probably. I hope they shift the entire dev team from Halo Infinite to Halo Tactics, and that Halo Tactics becomes the flagship franchise for Halo. That's what I hope. No? You wouldn't like that, Rand? You wouldn't like Halo Tactics? Also for mobile. Halo Tactics for mobile. That'd be sick.
Jeez.
No? Rand?
Yeah,
no?
whatever. You can dream. You can keep dreaming. You can definitely keep dreaming. All right, Jez. Time to talk about the future of Xbox. I was invited to this press briefing earlier in the week. You were invited as well. We got to watch a bunch of videos where Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty talked about the future of Xbox and certain things. And there's a lot of announcements they made. So I'm going to throw this to you. And I want you to just lead the discussion. Well, pick the first thing you want to talk about. The thing that stood out to you the most from this. Is it the article you wrote about the 5 exclusives? Do you want to start there?
I mean, there was a lot in this presentation.
There was a lot.
There was a lot. So I feel like everything, what was in it, will appeal.
We're going to talk about everything. I'm just saying, where do you want to begin?
Where do I want to begin? Let's talk about the fiscal year 2023 and the 5 exclusives or platform games they want to release. Because I wrote in my headline, Microsoft wants to release 5 exclusives next fiscal year, but some people reached out and pointed out that they didn't necessarily say exclusive. They just said they're going to release 5 games. So that could include non-exclusives like Deathloop, which is possible.
Yeah, but
let's talk about that.
But they didn't include Deathloop in last year's when they actually launched it, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So why would they include it now? I don't know. I'm confused on that one.
Yeah, they can change the rules.
And they didn't. You were telling me they launched Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. They didn't count that. So I mean, like, I don't know what.
Last year, I wasn't sure on that.
Well, I'm just saying, Deathloop launched last fiscal year, yes. And so did Ghostwire Tokyo, right?
Yes.
And they didn't include those, so
yes,
I don't think they would include them this thing. So. Yeah, so it's Microsoft's intention to meet or exceed, because, people were down on Xbox after Starfield and Redfall got delayed. Like, hey, what's coming, man? Like, what's coming at the end of the year? What do you got? And they said they have, at minimum, 5 exclusives coming between now and June of next year. So, what do you think they are?
I mean, Avowed is one of them.
Oh, you think Avowed's coming before June?
Yeah.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
You don't think so?
No, actually, I don't know.
Okay, well,
I mean, this is your predictions. Don't let me make you want to go and change it. Tell me what you think.
You're the one who pretends not to know things, and then
I
you
don't
know
know things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure, man. Sure.
Here's
buddy.
the thing. I
Sure,
don't.
bro.
I'll give you my line of reasoning why I don't think about. Look, Mr. Matty Plays and a few other people are riding the train. I think Mav is also one of them, and maybe even Pong Soul. Shout out to Pong in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Over 2,000 people. Hope you're enjoying the show. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. But there's a lot of people riding the Avowed 2022 train, Jez, that it's going to launch this holiday.
Train, baby.
You're on the train now?
Well, maybe not holiday, but I'm on the train that it launches before next summer, baby. Maybe May or something.
May, okay. Someone's saying
I think it launches fiscal year 2023, bro. I'm on that train.
Someone said you just got slothed. What'd you get slothed about? Nothing.
Probably,
Project Chinook.
Probably
nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. Good old sloth.
So you're riding the Avowed 2022 train? Is this what you're telling
me? Not 2022. Fiscal year 23. Fiscal year 23.
Okay, so when? Give me the date.
I'm gonna say June. By June.
You're gonna say by June. Okay, fair enough. I like that. You're not waffling. You said June. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I don't think that.
Sorry.
Is because we already know Starfield is coming before June, and in fact,
I think it's earlier. I think Starfield launches before Avowed.
I agree with you 100% on that. So Todd Howard also said during this press briefing that they're putting the finishing touches on Starfield, and that the sign-up screen for Xbox Game Pass had in fine print that Starfield scheduled to launch early 2023. So does that mean 2/2/23, like February 2nd, 2023? What about 3/3/2023, right? So there's dates they could go there. So I agree with you. I fully agree with you that Starfield launches before Avowed, but I do think they need separation. I'm not sure you can launch Avowed in March or Starfield in March and then launch Avowed 3 months later.
No, you totally can. You totally can. And I'll tell you why.
I totally think you absolutely cannot.
I think you absolutely totally
cannot.
I think you absolutely totally can because, Rand, the casual Starfield players will have bounced after 3 months.
Okay.
But Starfield's going to be a game that people play for the next 10 years. It's going to be another landmark gaming event like Skyrim where mods keep the game alive for the next million years. So anyone who's going to keep playing Starfield will keep playing Starfield no matter when Avowed launches. But I think most of the people who are like one and done, like yourself, will have bounced off that game after 3 months. And they'll be ready for something new. And I think that's why you can launch Avowed then. And also, because Obsidian has its own fan base, some people just straight up don't like sci-fi, and they just don't like it.
That's true.
So I think 3 months, 3 or 4 months is enough breathing space,
All right.
For Avowed, personally. That's where I'm at. Because I know for a fact that I would stop playing Starfield to play Avowed after that many months.
Sure. No, I mean, 3 months.
Starfield's not an MMO. It's not an MMO. It's I'm gonna be done with it by then. I'll surely go back to it for DLC, but that'll probably be like what, fiscal year 24, maybe. Assuming they do DLC, they probably are gonna do DLC. Let's be real, but So yeah, that's where I'm at. I think Avowed's fiscal year 23, and that's one of the games, one of the 5.
So give me the rest of the games. Give me the rest of them. Give me the list.
Forza Motorsport 8.
All right, Forza Motorsport. When's it coming?
Fiscal year 23.
Stop with this fiscal year. Give me solid release date.
Okay, so Forza Motorsport. The question is really, does it launch this year or next year?
Yes,
within the fiscal year 2023. I think I like to believe that it could launch this year. Maybe in November. Maybe that's their big flagship game for this quarter 4, And I got a feeling you're going to disagree with me.
I mean, I think there's a possibility Forza Motorsport's early next year. I did hear even before this generation started that they wanted to shift Motorsport to the beginning of the year instead of the end of the year. So I do think there may be everybody's assuming that Forza Motorsport is coming out this year, but I think there's a chance it launches in the spring, like March or something. So I'm gonna you keep on going on. So give me the other games that you think are coming. I'll give mine in a second.
Okay, so we got Avowed, we got Forza. I think Redfall is an obvious one. I think Redfall could drop maybe in the spring, April or something. I think Redfall is going to be in that sort of Outriders kind of time slot where it's like maybe relatively quiet. It has a lot of space to breathe. It's a co-op game, so it'll probably do well on streaming with Xbox Game Pass, pushing the game to a bigger audience. So yeah, I personally would tip that for sort of spring, Redfall in spring-ish time-ish maybe. And then my fourth game, would they count Age of Empires for Xbox in that list? Or would that not count?
No, because I think they counted it last year, so I don't think they would count it again.
Yeah, okay, so maybe they don't count that. But I do think we've got Age of Empires 4 for Xbox coming probably before the end of this year. And obviously, I think we'll get Deathloop as well before the end of this year as well. But maybe they don't count that. So what does that leave? I think Belfry could be one of those games. Project Belfry from Stoic, which we don't really know a lot about. We know it's Stoic Studios made the Banner Saga. There's some kind of base building stuff in it, but there's also it's been compared to Castle Crashers. So maybe that's like a smaller game that we see launch, maybe early next year, January, February or something, as a smaller kind of release. And I also think Pentiment. Which is Josh Sawyer's sort of Disco Elysium kind of game, investigative narrative RPG stuff. I think that could launch before the end of this year. So that would be my 5, personally. But who knows? Maybe we get a surprise. Maybe
that's the thing, is always be surprises. I do agree with you about Pentiment launching this year. That'd be one. Grounded 1.0 is going to launch, but I don't know if they'd count that. Age of Empires console ports, Deathloop, I don't think they count those two. So As Dusk Falls is launching this year, I'm pretty sure. I think that would count because that's a global publishing game. So, and Forza I said in my prediction video that I think Forza Motorsport's going to launch in October, so I'm just going to stick by that. But I do think there's an outside chance they move it to March of next year. But then you also, Redfall I think will be out, I'm going to say May. I'm actually going to say Starfield launches before Redfall. And that Redfall actually needed more work than Starfield did. And that Starfield launches just because it's, let me look at this guy. Let me look at next year's dates. Let me see. Let me look at next year's dates here. Let me see what we got. We got that'd be a good release date. Let's see. No, it's a Thursday. Okay. I'll just say 3/3/23 simply because that's a Friday. I would like to say 3/23/23, but that's a Thursday and they don't launch games on Thursday. So I say Starfield comes in March.
March? That's weird.
I mean, why is that weird?
That's just weird. It's a weird month. March?
Oh, no, March isn't that weird.
Oh, no one cares about March. March is the lamest month, probably.
No, definitely not. I also think Project Belfry from Stoic that launches. I know the problem is there could be a whole bunch of stuff. Like you're right, maybe Avowed is ready to launch early next year, and it just comes out and Starfield launches later. That's the great thing about this is like I don't know. So,
Yeah,
but I
it's
mean
just a
they're basically saying that like, hey, we're going to match or exceed our output. So
well, that's the thing. That's the thing is like exceed. So like them saying 5 is their conservative estimate, right?
yes,
So exceed could indicate that we could get 6 or 7 games next year, and maybe that's where they're factoring in some unknown elements. For example, Stalker 2 is supposed to launch this year, but given the state of Eastern Europe right now, I find that incredibly unlikely and optimistic. I'll be amazed if Stalker 2 launches this year. So that's one game that I expect could be delayed, for obvious and depressing reasons.
well,
But,
Jez,
oh.
leaker extraordinaire Tom Henderson
Hmm.
just tweeted out that I'm pretty sure we're getting Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels DLC announcement and our first look at the next Forza Motorsport, which is slated for spring 2023, last I heard.
Well, there you go.
So there you go.
Tom Henderson, certainly very connected when it comes to leaks right now. Forza Most, let's assume Tom Henderson is
I
right,
mean,
because
I did tell you earlier today that someone told me Forza Motorsport might be coming spring of next year.
and that's why I said I think I had a feeling you were going to disagree with me.
Yeah, well,
But
I mean, but I said in my prediction, like that's the thing. Like, I don't think Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to announce for Xbox, but I'm gonna stick with it because I said it in my video. I said it 3 days beforehand, and I would feel like it's kind of lame to change it. So I was just like, whatever, I'll stick with it, even though like deep down I think like differently. So, you know,
yeah, well, okay, so Forza Motorsport still launches in fiscal year 23, right?
yes,
So
spring. So I'd say March. I think March is a good. Like I said, I had heard for a while that they wanted to move one of the Forza games out to outside of like the end of the year
yeah.
stuff.
See, now that's where like overlap would be an issue for me. The overlap being like if you launch Forza Horizon, say for example, you got the Hot Wheels DLC for Forza Horizon 5, which Microsoft themselves leaked on Steam.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so Microsoft themselves leaked Forza Horizon's second Hot Wheels DLC, which is going to be pretty cool. That's a game you wouldn't want to launch against Forza Motorsport because there is overlap, So
Yes.
Forza, they'll probably push Hot Wheels as the sort of get everyone back playing Forza Horizon. Then maybe they tie that up to Motorsport a little bit because people who play sim races don't always necessarily want to play. They don't always necessarily want to play arcade races and vice versa. But I think there's a chance that people would check it out if they're tired of Forza Horizon and they've had their fill of it. So those are two games that I would expect they'd spread out. So, but yeah, some people are saying like in chat, do you think Stalker 2 will launch before the end of fiscal year 2023? It's you can't be sure because I know that they've been helping the team literally move their studio and country, and a bunch of them are still working in Ukraine even now, from what I understand, which is it's such an appalling situation. It makes me so mad, but it is what it is. So like I don't want to throw pressure onto Stalker 2 being like, oh god, Stalker 2 needs to launch now and it's devastating if it doesn't, because it's ultimately nobody's fault except for one asshole dude in the Kremlin whose fault it is. So yeah, there's bigger things to be concerned about with regards to all that stuff. But I guess we'll just have to wait and find out.
But Stalker 2 also isn't published by Microsoft. So, right?
It is, isn't it?
I mean, it's an ID at Xbox game.
Yeah, but that ID at Xbox is a publishing label. They don't say it is, but it is.
Yeah, but
Any game that's sort of direct to digital is published under Idea Xbox.
so are you saying something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is published by Microsoft then because it's using ID at Xbox?
Technically,
Okay, but there's a difference between something like
there are
Asdos.
levels. There are levels.
Yes.
There's like the lowest level where
Because
you
Stalker
publish via
2,
Idea Xbox,
because we
but
already
you
know,
don't get marketing. Stalker 2 is on the higher tier of
yeah,
publishing.
but we already know Stalker 2 is a timed console exclusive. Would eventually go to PlayStation. If Microsoft's publishing a game, that game's not going to go to PlayStation. I think that's the point I'm trying to make.
They're soft publishing it. I mean, they are publishing it on Xbox. Like they publish PUBG on Xbox. It's that tier of publishing.
Yeah, but then
right?
I mean, I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask Microsoft if they would count Stalker 2 as one of their games.
They do. I'm pretty sure that they do. For now. Until the deal expires. It's their way of doing timed exclusivity deals without.
So did they consider like Death's Door their game when it was on Xbox for like 4 months before it came to PlayStation?
Well, that was published by Devolver, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. Or what about
There's a whole other layer to this when there's actually like a publisher involved. That's like a bit smaller. And then they hit like a certain amount of revenue, and then they're no longer considered an indie publisher. Like Rebellion's considered an indie publisher, so they publish via Idea Xbox, from what I understand. Even though they do send games to retail, there's no like hard fast rules about all of this stuff. But yeah, like I think they consider Stalker to be their game, at least for now. I would think.
All right. Fair enough. Thaneros says trees are slang for weed. Weed equals drugs. Drugs equals overdose. Overdose equals Kojima. Game exclusive to Xbox. Boom. You're welcome.
You can't overdose on weed, though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Scarecrow. Been a member for 28 months. Says, I hope everyone has a fantastic showcase. Key 3 disappointed, but Xbox will bring it. And please hit the like button, everybody. Love from Australia.
Smash that like button. That's what you
You gotta say that like the YouTubers. Georgie says the Xbox Spanish guy leaked the FM spring date. He said that Overdose was played on a smartphone. This is a cloud game. He thinks that. Yes, that was some of the reporting. THX says Starfield on 5/1/23. Morrowind released 5/1/02. So there you go.
That'd be. They do like theming their launch dates, don't they?
Yeah. Kyle B says, great show. Do we still not know the length of the show? Strange we know the length of the extended show, but not the main show. As far as I know, they have not given an update about the length of the show. I think it's going to be.
What about the girth?
I think it's at least going to be 90 minutes. I've been saying I think it's between 90 or an hour and a half and an hour 45. But I think they might be like, because a lot of people were Summer Games Fest was 2 hours, and they're like, and there probably is some like feelings that maybe you don't want to go that long after Summer Games Fest just did it, and people were kind of like about it, where maybe you want to keep it a little bit more focused, a little bit more punchy, have the pacing a little bit more quicker, so maybe they decide to trim it, because I do think they have a lot. It's just a matter of, how do they feel that it flows. So I would say 90.
You know what else you can trim?
What else can you trim?
Your balls.
Ooh.
Use Manscaped products with code XB2. Sorry, when you said trim, I just immediately thought of balls.
Yes.
I don't know what that says about me.
So there's at least 5 exclusives coming in the next fiscal year, which is great. Everybody can have their own predictions on what they are. We'll find out, I would imagine, at the showcase in 2 days. What was your other big story from all this stuff?
Yeah, so the stuff that I was pretty excited about to read more about was the abundance of cloud stuff that we're getting.
Okay.
So, I know not everyone's really into cloud, but it's really important for the platform. We talked earlier about games skipping Xbox arbitrarily. because they don't think it's worth it. Part of that is the install base that you get on PC and the install base you get on mobile. It's just not there on console for any console, where mobile deals in billions of players, whereas console, you're talking about like tens of millions. So it's really important for Microsoft to access that billions number, and cloud is going to be a key proponent of them doing that. And for them to start they're expanding it slowly. It's only on 2020 Samsung TVs so far, so the install base there is going to be pretty low. But this is the first time we've had a look at what the TV app's going to look like for xCloud. Once they start putting this on more TVs and eliminate the need to have a console entirely, you're removing a barrier to the ecosystem. You're giving devs more audience, and you're making it so like Xbox becomes a bigger platform for developers to target, and it becomes a situation where like they can't ignore Xbox because everyone has access and everyone's using it. So it's absolutely critical that they get some of this stuff right. And also, the really cool thing they said is they're going to start letting you buy games to own on xCloud that aren't in Xbox Game Pass. And it's something I've been asking for ages, because there are a lot of games that I want to play on cloud that aren't on cloud. Diablo 3 being one of them, And you have to assume Diablo 3 is going to come to Game Pass anyway once the deal closes. And that's something else they said this week, is that they want to get as many Activision games into Game Pass as possible. Diablo being the obvious one to put there. So that's something that's going to happen. But they also talked about like how they just want to eliminate as many boundaries as possible to the ecosystem. And I think that's super exciting. As a console player, I primarily play on console. I use cloud a lot because I think it's the future, and it's, important for my job to research some of this stuff. But I'm primarily an Xbox console player. I have a PC. I play on PC sometimes, mainly for the like exclusives and stuff. But I am primarily a console player, and I can't stress enough how important it is that Microsoft can grow beyond the console. It doesn't mean they're gonna quit console, which is some hot takes I saw out there.
Yeah, I've seen some dumb hot takes.
Yeah, there have been some dumb hot takes that Microsoft's like they're gonna. This is all proof they're gonna quit console, and they're gonna stop making consoles and all this stuff. But everyone always forgets that the silicon for the cloud is literally console hardware. And it's like, why would they quit the console ecosystem if they're making consoles anyway? They're making consoles for the cloud. The development environment's the same. And people are still going to want home consoles. Basically, consoles become your cloud at home at that point. And that's something they're working on as well. Letting you stream games from your home Xbox remotely. And yeah, it doesn't work that great. Especially because like you're tunneling through domestic network environment, which isn't always the best scenario, especially for me. But it's sort of like when it comes to the cloud, it anchors the console. It anchors the console. So as long as the cloud exists, they'll have to keep making console hardware. So it's just they're not going to stop making consoles. They're really not. I don't know how plainly to say this. Maybe in 50 years, when we've all got brain implants and we don't even need a TV anymore, maybe that's when they stop making consoles. But not in any sort of time scale that anyone needs to have any vague concern about right now. But oh well, I digress.
Yeah, the xCloud stuff is obviously a big step. Like the Xbox app coming to finally smart TVs. It was the biggest no-brainer. It's like, duh, right? Everybody's buying smart TVs. They're partnering with Samsung on their 2022 models to start with. They did say they're going to go to other manufacturers in time. But Samsung's like the number one like TV manufacturer by market share, right? So
yeah,
this is going to be in millions of TVs. It's going to sit right next to like, your Netflixes and your Disney apps and stuff. So it's just another way of like you being able to play your games wherever you want. So it's like you got your low-end Series S, you got your high-end Xbox Series X, you got your PC, You got your iOS and Android phones and tablets, and now you have the smart TVs, and you start going there, and it just constantly and consistently is just gonna lower barriers to entry over time. And I think they even you can use any controllers that you got. Like you can use PlayStation controller to play stuff, right? So it's like whatever controller you got sitting around. And then I saw Matt Piscatella say something interesting that people who essentially would use the smart TV or smart app on the TV maybe like what they see and then buy a console because of it, because they want better latency or whatever. So it actually sells Xbox even more and stuff. So the future that Phil and his teams have talked about is really kind of all coming together. The only thing that's really missing is that streaming stick and potentially a dedicated handheld device. There's a couple of the only things that are missing, as well as also the games. You need those as well.
There needs to be some games.
You need to get the games to go along with it. You also need Family Plan for Game Pass, right?
Which we didn't hear about this week.
Which is makes me think they're not going to talk about it at the show or next week, but I don't know, because you would think they would. But Lee Elder in the Super Chat says, From Software appears to have leaked a new Armored Core game recently. When do you think they'll reveal it to the public? I have no idea.
I would love Microsoft to get the market for.
Ooh.
Because, the whole MechAssault stuff, right? So we don't get a new MechAssault, but maybe they make up for it by giving us marketing on Armored Core and maybe xCloud and maybe Game Pass. I think that's a dream, but that'd be so damn sick if they did that.
Yes, it would be. We got a super chat here from Michael who says, "What do you think the chances are that Xbox pays NetherRealm Studios to make a new Killer Instinct game and Traveler's Tale to make a new Banjo game as a test for WE Interactive buyout?" 0%. 0. Here's the thing, okay? In my opinion, if you're going to pay NetherRealm Studios to make a game, you're paying them to make a Mortal Kombat game. That's it. Killer Instinct's amazing, and I want it to come back, and I want it to come back in a big way. But you have to be realistic about things. Killer Instinct sales potential is dwarfed immensely by Mortal Kombat. I mean, how Mortal Kombat dwarfs Street Fighter. So
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, so the idea that you would pay NetherRealm to make a Killer Instinct game, I think, that doesn't make any sense to me. You'd have them make a Mortal Kombat game, because Mortal Kombat's the game that's going to sell millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and bring people into Game Pass and have people buy Xboxes. And Traveler's Tale, I don't know about this whole testing for WB Interactive buyout. That's just going to happen or it doesn't happen. Microsoft now has Toys for Bob that can make a Banjo game. So you don't necessarily need to pay another studio, someone else's studio to make it. So I know that people really want this NetherRealm thing and for them to do Killer Instinct, but to me, it doesn't make any financial sense for NetherRealm to work on Killer Instinct. Now, with that said, a Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct game? Sure, that could work, right? Or exclusive Killer Instinct characters in a Mortal Kombat game? Yeah. But I don't know. NetherRealm, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. It'd be asking hey, Infinity Ward, you have Call of Duty, but then we want you to go make, Battlefield or something, which Battlefield sells so what's even another shooter that's even worse, sells less than Battlefield? Let me try to think. What would be one, Jez?
God, even they're even.
I can't even think of one. It's
anymore.
Yeah, it's like Infinity Ward. You make Call of Duty and it sells the best ever, but we want you to actually make Battlefield, which isn't going to sell as good. It doesn't make any sense. You want them to make the thing that's going to sell. So,
Yeah.
speaking of Mortal Kombat, Jez, do we see Ed Boon at the Xbox show potentially unveiling, Mortal Kombat 12 or anything? Like, do you see a lot of third parties at the showcase? I know there's going to be indies from already at Xbox, but I think when people mean third parties, they want to see like what Sony dropped at State of Play, right? Street Fighter 6, Final Fantasy 16, Resident Evil 4 remake. So, what third parties do you think are going to show up at the Xbox show?
I think it's interesting because Ed Boon's like, he's been interacting with Xbox executives on Twitter a little bit recently, joking around and stuff. So, that could be something I could see, like a Mortal Kombat appearing on the Xbox stage. Street Fighter went on the PlayStation stage, so that makes sense to me. Announce a new Mortal Kombat. Tom Henderson has just said hello in the chat. Hey, Tom, how's it going, man?
Thank you for subscribing, Tom. Appreciate it, man. Enjoy all the leaks, by the way.
Yeah, awesome work, man. But yeah, it's sort of like, what could show up? I know I'm like 99.874% sure Diablo 4 is going to blow up on Xbox's stage. They're going to have a big blow up for Diablo 4, and they're going to maybe even announce the launch date. Because there's no BlizzCon. There's no BlizzCon anymore. And I also think, I think Blizzard must have known Diablo Immortal was going to get a big backlash. So it's having your marketing for the real Diablo game lined up straight after is a good way to make core Diablo fans forget that Diablo Immortal exists. So I think Diablo 4 is going to show up in a big way. It just makes a lot of sense. Ed Boon with Mortal Kombat makes a lot of sense because Street Fighter was on the other stage. Now, what else could show up? That's a good question. I think there's going to be some big major third-party surprises. I mean, if I had to guess, because, the next year, the holiday season for Xbox does look a little bit light,
That's an understatement. That's an understatement and a half, Jez.
So, yeah, what could you slap in there to sort of remind people that there will be stuff to play, this holiday season? Like, how much stuff do we know about that there is to play? But at the same time, I'm sort of reticent to overhype that idea because, we're still in that sort of crease where COVID delayed everything. And I think 2023 is going to be fun because everything that was delayed this year is going to try and get crammed really hard into 2023, and that's going to be hilarious, Oh my God, Tom Henderson just dropped you a pretty beefy super chat.
Yeah, he says leak season, baby.
Wow, thanks for that, man.
Yeah, appreciate that, Tom. And I know there's a lot of people out there that they want to go in, not. Let's just say they don't want you to leak the Xbox show. Or I guess the question would be, do you know the Xbox show?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Could you, if you wanted to, Tom, could you actually leak the Xbox show? I think people would be interested in that because some people would want to log off the internet for the next 2 days, right?
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. On my end, Microsoft's done a pretty good job of keeping it quiet, but Tom Henderson seems to have clairvoyance, But nah, it's
well, it was funny because when Tom leaked all the stuff about the xCloud stuff earlier in the week, I was sitting there because I couldn't say anything because both me and you, we watched the presentation and we couldn't say a word,
Yeah, indeed.
So it's like, oh well, I knew that was going to leak too. I'm like, somebody's going to leak this because of course they are, and it's just like I had to wait and for the time to say it. But B Staples says he thinks Assassin's Creed's going to be at Xbox's show.
That's Assassin's Creed Infinite, right? The rumored service Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
man. I've been pretty down on Ubisoft lately, and I talk about how they've got no creativity left and stuff like that. The one thing I always thought Assassin's Creed really needed, Rand, was more microtransactions.
More microtransactions.
It needed online play, it needed service component, and it needed more microtransactions. That's exactly what will make me hyped about Assassin's Creed again. Can you feel my sarcasm, man? You feel my sarcasm? Tom Henderson says he will know the Xbox show tomorrow, but he won't leak it. He says.
Yeah, that leaking it one day before the show is kind of like I wouldn't do that if I knew it, because it's at that point it's like, what's the point? It's a day. If it was a week in advance, maybe. But tomorrow, Jez, you're gonna have to reach out to people to find out what the show tomorrow. If Tom's gonna find out this. Oh yeah, I guess there's a chance you want to be surprised, right?
Yeah, I don't want to know. I like not knowing. It's kind of nice because I'm not in LA. I don't know what the show is. I don't want to know.
Everybody's at LA for the Summer Games Fest stuff that they're doing, as well as Fan Fest. So yeah,
I'm live blogging the show, but I'm mostly just gonna chill and watch it. And while I'm live blogging it, I'm gonna live blog it on WindowsCentral.com. So if you can't watch the show for whatever reason, and you can't watch the video, you can't watch the stream, I'll be live blogging it on WindowsCentral.com in our special shiny new live blog system, which we have, which lets me update an article in real time, which is really cool. But yeah, I'm just gonna be watching it, man. Like I said, the only things I know is things that are not going to be there, like the Gears collection. That's not going to be there. Tom says he doesn't want to know.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Xbox also talked about. All right, this is kind of the controversial one: demos behind Game Pass, Jez.
Demos behind Game Pass. Now, you said earlier, Rand, that you thought we were going to disagree on this. Why do you think?
Because I don't know what you think about it. So I think there's a chance maybe we disagree or what. I don't know what your thought process is on this. So explain to the people the whole demo behind Game Pass and what Microsoft is thinking and stuff.
Okay, so this was revealed by Tom Henderson.
Well, yeah.
Earlier in the week. That Microsoft is working on.
What was it? Project Moorcock? More something?
Moorcock?
No. Okay, so what was it? Moorcroft. Project Moorcroft. That was it. My bad.
Moorcock.
Code XB2 at manscaped.com.
What's your search history, Rand Althor 19? That was a Freudian slip for the ages. But no, it's not called Moorcock. It's called Moorcroft.
You okay there?
Man. Code XP2 on manscaped.com.
Are you okay? You're gonna make me laugh now. Jesus.
Oh, okay. Whew. Moorcroft. What? Oh, okay, Moorcroft. What is Moorcroft? What does Moorcroft mean? I don't know what the hell Moorcroft means. Microsoft uses the most random code names ever, but I mean, they might as well have used Moorcock, given a.
Was that what I wanted to ask you? Was that, what? Oh man, I don't know why. I don't know why, man. Was Moorcroft one of the code names you had that you had no information about? You had those list of code names.
No. I never saw a damn thing about Moorcroft. I never saw that code name before, so it was completely new to me. Like, I didn't even know they were working on demos for Xbox Game Pass. That was completely new to me as well. So, my position on my position on paid demos is kind of like it's kind of it's evolved. It's evolved a little bit, because initially I was kind of like a lot of the community think offering demos for offering demos for money is weird in a way, because it's like, it's sort of like it's something that historically hasn't happened. We used to gain demos for free, But like, I spoke to some developers recently, and they were kind of like, especially Microsoft. One of Microsoft impressed that this is mostly going to be revolved around independent developers, right? So Microsoft, like, I spoke to some developers about it to get their thoughts, and they were like, demos are not cheap to make. They're not trivial to make. They're like it's a substantive amount of development time to make a vertical slice that makes sense, that presents the game in a positive light, that is actually like good and stuff. Because a bad demo can hurt your game. If you release a demo and it's low budget and you haven't polished it and it's kind of sucks and it doesn't represent the final product, it can actually hurt your game. And honestly, we used to see this all the time in the 360 era, where demos would come out and they'd be buggy and broken, and they just wouldn't be a great experience. And it was kind of like, it actually like hurt the game. I used to see that all the time in the 360 era. And as such, when it comes to a big AAA dev, yeah, maybe they got the resources to make a demo and give it away for free. But when it comes to smaller indie dev, that's like a ton of investment. So basically what this is it's less about Microsoft getting you to pay for the demo. It's more about Microsoft giving developers money, an investment, in exchange for something, So like, it's a good deal for developers and indie developers, and it's a good deal for Xbox gamers who are part of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So that's where my positions kind of evolved on that, Because first I was kind of like, the common sense idea instantly is like, hang on, we used to get these for free when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it was easy to make a demo when I was a kid, of your pixel art game that didn't have physics and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I used to like, we used to go to like WH Smith's and like steal the demo discs off all the magazines because we couldn't afford the games to buy them, And it's like there's a PC demo disc sitting right there, and like I must have played the Final Fantasy VII PC demo like mountain. Is it before Golden Saucer? You go to like the sort of railway level, and I did that demo like repeatedly because I, couldn't afford any games. So, but it's different times now. It's not trivial. It's yeah. So I'm kind of like in favor of it when it helps devs, and that seems to be the way Microsoft's going about it. I don't know exactly how Sony is handling it. I'm not so I don't know if Sony's doing it differently. I don't know if Sony's making it like a mandate that all games have to have demos. I don't know like how it's working over there because I haven't researched
game trials. Sony's doing, which
yeah,
they're basically
trials.
just putting timers on like finished
like
products.
The EA Play thing, right?
Yeah, like finished products. Like you can play 5 hours of Horizon Forbidden West or whatever.
Yeah, so I think that's it's whatever. It's like an extra. It's like EA Play, and no one got mad about that. But I think like as long as it gives indie devs some upfront money, and helps them cash flow their business for a while in exchange for the investment that it takes to make a vertical slice of a modern game, I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
but
like
what do you think?
Well, like the idea of like locking demos behind paywall is just weird to me in general. Like I thought the Sony thing was weird because they're basically like, they're gonna be like, all right, we'll make sure that you don't have to do any work, but we're taking the game that you already made and we're slapping a timer on it, mandating that, hey, if you're over X amount of dollars, you have to be in this highest tier, and it has to be within like 4 months or whatever. So like they're basically trying to like squeeze out extra value from games that they had no help in making, right? They didn't do anything outside of their own. Obviously, Horizon is a different story, but like, something like, Grand Theft Auto 6, if they would have to follow the rules, it's like, oh, well, 3 months into it or 4 months in, like you have to have this game trial, but then they don't get compensated. So, but then Sony sort of does because people will pay the highest tier to get it. With this, it's like, okay, you're going after independent developers. It's also opt-in, so it's not mandated. and Sarah Bond explained it in the video, talking about like, hey, we could give the showroom like E3 PAX East experience to some of our users, right? And we know that it takes time and money to build these demos. Like, these developers are building these demos for these show floors. And it's basically like, why not maybe polish it a little bit more, bring it to Game Pass so you can get more feedback, and we'll pay you for it. So you have a financial incentive to actually, release these demos, and our Game Pass customers get more value out of their subscription. Because if Xbox wasn't paying them, then these demos wouldn't be existing anyways. So,
yeah.
But
they cost money to make, so it feels like they, in a logical business sense, would dictate to me that someone should be getting paid for it.
Yeah, but as someone who's been around, a long time, it's just odd that we've like went from demos are free and everybody can play them to now demos and trials are locked behind a paywall. It's just an odd sort of look where you started and look where we're going. Like, I get why Xbox is doing it, because they think it's a win-win. They're helping out the small guy, right? And they can pay the developers for the demo because the money's coming from Game Pass, and it's the Game Pass users that are going to be benefiting from it. So we'll have to see how many people actually, or how many developers actually do this, right? I know there's been pushback, like when Xbox mandated that all 360 arcade games had to have a demo, that wasn't generally liked by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there was like studies shown that like demos don't necessarily help. They could hurt just as much as they help. So who knows? Yeah. A lot of developers may be like, yeah, we're not going to do this because we're not really sure. But then, like you said, indie developers, maybe they're like, all right, we'll take the money just like they do for Game Pass if it helps out, if it helps pay the bills for a bit. So maybe they do it. I will just have to wait and see how much this is used. And
my logic is like, these demos wouldn't exist without the investment. So you're not really losing anything. And it's not like Microsoft's going to ban free demos.
Oh, I mean, we got an update, Jez. Got an update, and I was right.
Oh.
Aaron Greenberg says the showcase is running 95 minutes long. I said it would be between 90. I said it would be between 90 and hour 45 or an hour 40. So 95. So an hour and 35 minutes.
Did Aaron tweet that? Because
he just did 2 minutes ago.
Is Aaron listening to the show?
No, I don't think so. No? But he just tweeted that out because Jay Rembert, who's I know listened to the show, he tagged me on Twitter, and so yeah, 95 minutes, which is I believe 10 minutes more than last year. I want to say, I forget the exact timing on last year's. I think it was a little short of.
Pretty beefy then, right?
Little beefy boy.
Beefy boy.
So Eternal Shaddai says, what about Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct collab while Ed Boon charging? I think the only way that ever happens is if they buy NetherRealm. Because I don't see Warner Brothers ever being like, because
there's no value for them.
You couldn't put that game on PlayStation. Well, I mean, I guess you could, but yeah, I don't see Warner Brothers going with that. George says Dragon's Dogma 2, since it's the DMC 5 team BioShock. I would love for BioShock to show up. That'd be cool. I'm a huge BioShock fan.
I love BioShock, and BioShock's a game I associate with Xbox because I think it was like one of the first 360 games I ever played. I would love to see BioShock there, but I don't know. Can 2K even make a game that isn't a microtransaction hell anymore? I don't know.
RRD says, am I biased, or do Xbox shows have the most hype? I mean, they do get a lot of hype. That is for damn sure.
Yeah, the Xbox community is just kind of awesome like that.
Oh, so what's going on over there? You got?
It's usual. It's where I live.
Jay Corden says, are we going to see IO Interactive's game at the show? Yes, Jez. Project Dragon, the game that you originally leaked last year. Do you think they show up? Because they could have a CGI announcement, maybe like kind of do it for hiring purposes. Do you think Project Dragon shows up?
I think not.
You
I
don't think
would
so?
say, yeah, I don't think Project Dragon shows up. I think it's still, I think it's a bit early still. um, like the original plan I had for that game was wildly ambitious. It was really, really ambitious. I mean, games can get reduced scope over time, as we, there was a big discussion about that recently on Twitter with regards to Fable. But the original plan for that game, like they specifically described World of Warcraft and Diablo as inspirations and targets, And for me, if you're using World of Warcraft as an inspiration or a development target, that's a lot. That's going to be a lot of investment, But yeah, I wouldn't expect to see it. But I think that could be like next year or the year after. I would say,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not Jack says Microsoft says no to drugs, but yes to Moorcock. Laugh out loud. I see Pong Souls calling me Randall Moorcock in the chat. Chiefman says, why is every other game reveal sci-fi or horror? Hey man, I'll take as many sci-fi or horror games as I can get. I love me some sci-fi stuff.
Like,
sci-fi
we
horror.
didn't get any. Yeah, we didn't get any AAA horror for like so damn long. So I'm all for it, man.
Yeah. Flame says use code XP2 to get more out of your cock. Jesus. This is gonna be a thing. This is definitely gonna be a thing.
Well, it's your fault. It's your fault that it's the thing.
Yeah, slip of the tongue. Yeah, see. Gunstar, what's up, buddy? He says, I think the tree is a cherry blossom, the national emblem of Japan, just waiting for the flowers to be lit. Interesting. Could be that, I suppose.
Actually, the type of tree could be the hint. Ooh, we need the botanist. That's what we need. We need a botanist who could tell us what kind of tree it is, and maybe that's a hint. Maybe the type of tree is a hint. I don't know.
All right. So, what else came out of this thing? Oh, yeah, the Activision Blizzard comments from Matt Booty. Remember this, Jez?
Activision Blizzard comments. Yes, he said. So Matt Booty obviously leads Xbox Game Studios, and he's been talking about a lot of stuff with regards to the future of the platform and stuff like that. And he dropped some like information to analysts about exactly what the deal for Activision Blizzard would look like. And he said that games with like established communities, they wouldn't want to split them apart. So potentially that refers to Overwatch. At the very least, Overwatch is going to have cross play between its games. So Overwatch 1 and 2 players will be able to play with each other. So naturally, they wouldn't want to split that community up. So I would expect Overwatch will continue to be a multi-platform game. But he also said that some games select games would go exclusive. So I think like those like single player games, maybe new projects that don't have communities, and I think like for example, if they made a single player or a cooperative StarCraft game, I could see that being exclusive because there's no established player base for StarCraft on the PlayStation. So I could see that being exclusive. But maybe Diablo 4 for PlayStation is probably almost already finished. So Diablo 4 is probably going to be multiplayer, but Diablo 5 maybe if it has a completely new community and it takes another how many years to launch? Diablo 6, maybe that could go exclusive. I don't know. But yeah, Rand, Georgie says we missed his super chat.
Georgie, just put it in chat and tag me, and because the chat updated and I missed everything, so just put it in chat again, and we'll.
Are you using Streamlabs?
No, I just have the YouTube chat up.
Well, if you use Streamlabs, Rand, like a professional streamer, they're all listed there in a big panel.
Yeah, you'd have to teach me how to do that. But the thing is that this isn't anything different than what they've already said.
Yeah, I guess
it wasn't anything different what they said with Bethesda either. Really, existing games are gonna exist on the platforms. there's still the people that believe that this is all smokescreen, by the way, that like once the deal goes through, they're going to go back and say, haha, we tricked you. Call of Duty is actually going to be exclusive now, right? Which
That'd be hilarious.
it would be hilarious, but that's not going to happen. Call of Duty is going to remain on PlayStation. I think
it's a ritual.
Well, it's not even that. I think it's just something that they just said to kind of get. I think the FTC would have came down hard on them, and I think this is one of those things where they were just like, no, it can be we'll head them off at the pass and be like, nope, Call of Duty is going to remain on PlayStation, so it's whatever. And then like, okay, so.
It's a ritual.
But yeah, like new IPs, like the new Blizzard survival game, that'll be exclusive.
Yeah.
So like I think basically like anything new, the studios will end up being exclusive. And if they ever do an Overwatch 3, that'll probably be multi-platform, but I don't think they ever will do an Overwatch 3 because why would they? So yeah, it'll just be Call of Duty, and then like if they do new stuff, all exclusives. There's nothing different. Like we're not gonna get a definitive answer. Like they're gonna have to like sit down and have like that Xbox Activision roundtable once the deal closes, and then you can get, they can talk a little bit more freely about their plans of everything. So yeah. THX says first it's bone cream, now it's Moorcock. the Moorcock 2. Whittier says, Rand, have you read Michael Moorcock? I think that's exactly what I was thinking of. I was thinking of that author.
Yeah, sure.
I'm dead serious.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think he writes the Elric saga, which I've never read.
Oh, yeah. Elric saga. Yeah, cool. Sounds good, man.
Jesse Darby says it was a bonsai tree, Jez, that they posted. Xbox.
Oh, is it a bonsai tree?
I guess. I don't know. That's what they're saying.
Bonsai tree.
Dang. Killer Z Ace.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, will Xbox reverse Diablo Immortal's microtransactions when the deal is done, so it releases in Belgium and the Netherlands? I would really like to try it, but I can't.
Yeah, that whole thing that's funny. That is because it's almost like, everyone's saying to the government, please regulate this, and then when they regulate it, yeah, be careful what you wish for, because now it's completely banned. So it's will Microsoft reverse it? I would hope they would, but at the same time, it's like that's the business model of the game now, and I think like all the free-to-play players are going to drop off, and for that game to like carry on having funding, they probably need to keep catering to the people who've got more money than sense. Unfortunately, I would hope so, and I'll definitely be putting pressure on Microsoft to do that when the deal closes. But I think like what's more likely to happen is they offer a shitload of in-game stuff, currency, crests, and loot boxes through Game Pass, and they'll just be like, well, you can either spend all this money yourself, or you can just get it basically for nothing with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. I think that's another big twist for Xbox Game Pass down the line, Rand. It's something they don't really explore that much right now, but it's the Game Pass perks. If you go on like Prime Gaming, which is something I use a lot now, Amazon Prime Gaming is what it does. It gives you like free stuff in free-to-play games. So you log on every month, you can get like free Hearthstone packs. You can get free loot boxes in Overwatch. There's a ton of stuff you can get, like even full-blown free games to own through Prime Gaming. And when I was using that, I just always think, man, Microsoft could be doing way more with its perk stuff, because I've gotten skins for Smite through Game Pass perks, but that's about it. I think they offered like a skin for Halo Infinite through it, but it's almost nothing. It's like completely underutilized. So I do think like the future of Game Pass is added value, and Blizzard's microtransaction layer is an obvious target for that. But we'll just have to wait and find out, I guess.
Yeah, Georgie, he said there was a Spanish Xbox YouTuber said he heard Forza Motorsport was spring 2023 this morning. He saw the Kojima game being played on mobile. He thinks it's an Xbox game. Well, I guess maybe we'll find out on Sunday if that's the case. And Tom Henderson said he heard that Forza Motorsport was spring 2023. So sounds like that guy might have been right. So.
And you heard that too as well, right?
Yeah, I had heard that as well. But yeah, so yeah, the whole like my Xbox is going all out with like the cloud being everywhere. They talk, they're still going to continue to invest in first party. I don't know when the next acquisition is going to be. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on at Xbox, and I'm sure there'll probably be more interviews, more stuff that they haven't really talked about, like after all these things, like interviews about games and stuff like that. So it's going to be super interesting to see what happens after Sunday, because the press is out there right now. I kind of wish I was there, but maybe I'll go there next year. And me and you can meet up, we met in 2016 at E3. Maybe it's time for another meetup 7 years later, huh?
Well, dude, like my company probably like won't send me, but if you plan to save up and go, I will also save up and go. If you want, because that'd be a reason for me to go to hang out with you, buddy.
Yeah, well, Colt's gonna be there, and Gaz, and a whole bunch of people. Look, I said it so like you have to subscribe for 10 minutes. And then the bots still end up subscribing and waiting. Like another one just literally like, really? You have nothing better to do? Because I'm watching it, so like I'm gonna delete it immediately. So you literally are just sitting here giving me a view, and then subscribing to the channel just so you can post your thing and get nuked.
It's a bot.
I know.
They're not sentient. Not yet.
Oh well, whatever. Stupid bots. Beast Mode said, Silksong day one on Game Pass. The Sony leaker is hinting this. Well, if the Sony leaker's hinting this, then, I mean, he hasn't been wrong yet.
That game was amazing.
I mean, that would be...
I didn't finish it, but what I played of it was just so good.
Oh, yeah, he did leak it. 4 minutes ago, he put up a thing of Hollow Knight, a picture of Hollow Knight, and says it's a like green circle day one, so... Yeah, that would be, dude, like Silksong day one on Game Pass, like that. So that would mean most likely that game's at the showcase, which means that this guy knows the showcase. So I guess
maybe it's gonna leak.
Well, like Tom already said, he'll know it tomorrow. So so batten down the hatches, everybody. Seems like things are. That's a big get for Game Pass. Because I'm not sure that was even announced for Xbox. That everybody assumed that's going to be a Switch game and stuff. But if that's coming to day one, if they got that game to come to Xbox day one and it's in Game Pass, like Hollow Knight's absolutely incredible. I actually would have hooked up my Switch to actually play Silksong.
Yeah, those games are just really good. But is there a launch date for it or a launch window?
No, not at all. Maybe we get a release date at the show.
Yeah. Sounds like it could happen.
Jay Boogie says, only thing better than one Xbox 2 podcast is 2 Xbox 2 podcasts.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a bunch of those next week. It's going to be a busy week next week.
It's going to be incredibly busy week. What else we got here to talk about? Oh, did you see did you see that tweet Xbox put out because in Midnight Suns, Spider-Man's in it, and he's voiced by the guy who did the voice of Spider-Man in the Sony game, in the Insomniac game.
Oh, really?
And people were surprised that because there was people talking about how Spider-Man can't be on Xbox, right? Because Spider-Man, Insomniac game, and then there was a deal that they did with Marvel Avengers where Spider-Man was only on PlayStation. So some people were surprised that Spider-Man is in Midnight Suns, and they asked the guy, one of the directors of Midnight Suns, like, was it difficult to get Spider-Man to come to Xbox? And they said no, it was pretty easy. And then Xbox made a tweet like, Spider-Man swinging onto Xbox, and it was sort of funny. So,
I don't know.
Yeah. So we talked about this, and this, and this, and this. Yeah. So you want to take some questions?
Let's rock some questions.
Shall we take some questions? Put your questions in the chat, guys. We will answer them. And thank you guys so much for tuning in on this beautiful Friday. We got 2 days left before the showcase. I appreciate everybody here, whether you're lurking, chatting, supporting the show with memberships or super chats, or if you're just listening later on, iTunes or all that great places. We love each and every one of you. Honestly, because this is the reason why me and Jez do this podcast, because I love seeing all the excitement in the chat for everything. And
this is like the coolest time of year. Like, it's the excitement from the Xbox fans is just so awesome, and it's what we're all waiting for. It's what we're all here for. The love of gaming.
Snowbike Mike, my guy, Mike in the chat. How you doing, brother? I'm surprised you're not in LA, man. Are you in LA right now with everybody? Or did they leave you behind? Oh, that would suck if they left you behind.
He's been left to batten down the hatches while everyone else goes and has fun.
Dark Siaya with the sticker. Appreciate it, man. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the show, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. Yeah, he did say it to me. So I talked about it. And in case everybody, if you're bouncing out right now and don't have any questions, I should be streaming the showcase on Sunday. Me and Jez will have our reactions podcast on Monday. And then we should have another podcast on Friday, a week from now. I'll try to gather up some people from the community so we can talk about all the things that Xbox showed. And it'll be a fun discussion. So let's see. Let's look at some of these questions. Calorie says we have 1,100 likes. Really? 1,100 likes? That's insane. Before the show even ends? Damn. Thank you guys for all the likes. Appreciate it.
You guys rock.
Let's see. TomTom840 says Halo 3 anniversary. See, Halo 3 came out in 2007. So 10 year be 2017. Nah, I mean, it would be some time. I doubt they do a Halo 3. Although I would want it. Gary Sanchez says, if Microsoft were to bring back a game at the showcase, what game would you want to see Microsoft revive? My pick would be Banjo or Lost Odyssey.
Lost Odyssey would be my pick too, I think.
I mean, Lost Odyssey is pretty cool. But I would like to see them bring back Killer Instinct. Like, I would say I want them to bring back Banjo for all my Banjo bros that are listening, that I know have been asking for it. But if you're asking me personally, Killer Instinct would be one. Actually, I got a better one. How about Quantum Break 2? Yes, Quantum Break 2.
Quantum Break was so good.
I will
die on that hill.
Some people would be like, what about Rise 2?
Rise would be good as well.
But
I'd take either of those.
Quantum Break 2. I would say Quantum Break 2 would be me. PSX Cloud says, when do you reckon we see xCloud app coming to more TVs?
That's a good question.
A year?
Well,
probably. It seems like they have a marketing deal with Samsung, don't they? Kind of.
Yeah, so I think there's two parts of it. I think part of it is xCloud capacity. Like, if they just stuck it on every existing smart TV out there right now, it will blow the servers up. So I think, like, it's sort of a convenient marketing deal because it means they can sort of roll it out slowly. Samsung gets to, say that they have an exclusive feature and continue to solidify their spot in the whole TV market and stuff. But also, there's been suggestions that part of the reason it's on Samsung's TVs is because they're dedicating some processing to video encoding on there, which is why, like, xCloud has different performance on different devices. On PC, it seems to perform best on PC on like a gaming PC. I don't know why that is technically, but it just seems to run better on hardware that have better processing. Don't know why that would be. Guess it's like the speed at which it can like encode video and stuff like that. I don't know, but it's just a reality of the thing. So I suppose like maybe Samsung's the new TVs have some kind of special features and stuff. And maybe when they improve the algorithm, they can send it out to like legacy TVs or older TVs as well. But I personally think server capacity is the bottleneck. But Microsoft did say in this week's press briefing that they're expanding xCloud by 125% over the next year. That is their projection. So that's how many server blades they're going to put in there. So that's like thousands and thousands of new server blades for xCloud. So presumably, as this service grows and hits critical mass, they'll start putting it out to more places, roll it out to more TVs, LG, obvious one, and yeah. So how long that's going to take is anyone's guess, but I think Rand's like a year probably sounds right, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't even come out with any more SSD. Remember, they said they would have more manufacturers of SSDs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Outside of who does the current one? Who does the current? I can't even.
Seagate.
Seagate does, yeah. And they said they would have more. I mean, it's been almost 2 years, and there hasn't been another one yet. So we'll see. It depends how long these deals go. Jeff Newton says, buy NetherRealm and make Mortal Kombat vs. Killer Instinct so we can end this debate. Meat Puppet says, what's your grade prediction for the Xbox Showcase? I mean, I hope it's an A. I couldn't give you a prediction because I haven't seen the show yet, and we don't know what's at the show. So I mean, I got my fingers crossed that everybody is going to like it and it's going to be an A or a B.
I'm predicting an A.
Yeah. Let's see. Mozambique says, when is Routine coming out? I don't think they gave a date for that. So, yeah. Syria says, if Final Fantasy VII Remake to Game Pass, do they also announce Part 2 as multiplayer at Xbox show? No. I do not. Somehow, Final Fantasy VII Remake does get announced on Sunday. Whenever they do announce the next one, I think there'll be some sort of exclusivity with PlayStation.
Yeah.
Smokey says, what are you playing these days, Rand? Well, the current game on screen is the game I'm playing. It's Quarry, just came out from Supermassive Games, the makers of the Dark Picture games and Until Dawn, and I quite like it. I'm only a couple hours in, so we'll see how it shapes up, but I really do like these type of games, so can't wait to dig more into it. Sherman Jacobs, how you doing, buddy? He says, any information on the Forza Horizon 5 expansion? I mean, all that we know is that the Steam header image leaked of it, and it was it's a Hot Wheels DLC expansion. That's it. Mm-hmm. Assuming that's true, which I think it is because it actually had the Forza Horizon 5 logo in there. So, hey, if they're going to revisit one of their DLCs, I'd rather have it be Hot Wheels because Hot Wheels was pretty damn awesome.
Cool. I'm not even into Forza, and I thought that was cool.
Sonic Chief says, do you guys think once Xbox owns Activision, they will put their next-gen games back down to 60, like the new COD, or will they let them keep it at 70? That's an interesting question because I don't know if you saw it, Jez, but the last-gen version of Call of Duty is $70. It's on par with current-gen version.
Yeah, I really think there's going to be a point where Microsoft joins the $70 train.
So do I.
Of inflation. Inflation is pretty rampant across the world right now. I think it's at like 7%, 8% in the UK. You know, and that's like a non-trivial amount of money if you're talking in millions and billions of dollars. So I do think, like, you know, as much as Microsoft could afford it, I think from a business competitive context, they'd probably be looking at it thinking like, man, we need to think about, you know, joining the $70 train. But I would hope not. You know, I think it's something that could potentially differentiate with. But the fact that they don't come out and like make it a thing and being like, oh, look at us, we do $60. I think it's because they know at some point they're gonna have to join that $70 train. But
yeah, I agree. I think at some point they do, but maybe they don't because of Game Pass. What does it matter what the cost of the game is, right? So
yeah, maybe.
Whittia says, with the 4 Fan Fest, what are the chances we get an XO this year? I think they really want to do an XO.
Yeah, I got XO feels.
I got the sense that they really want to do that stuff. So I think there's a good chance. We'll just have to wait and see. I think you're probably going to see the problem with this year's Fan Fest was it was late and it's just a viewing party. But maybe next year, like with E3 coming back as they say, and Jeff doing Summer Game Fest and in person again, maybe Xbox does a live show next year and not a digital one.
Yeah.
I know Phil really misses the fans and he loves the fans' energies during the shows. So maybe they go back to doing that. I don't know. I could see them doing it. Mav with the $5 says, "Will Moorcock only be available in the Ultimate package?" Yes. Game Pass Ultimate will give you the Moorcock. But no, I believe they didn't make mention that it was only in the Ultimate tier. I think it's in the base tier. So, Monkey Crow says, French food or Mexican food? What would?
Oh, Mexican.
I would. Yeah.
French food.
What's French food?
Who likes French food?
I was gonna say
snails.
Oh well, yeah, Mexican all day then. Yeah.
Man, snails and French people eat snails and frogs. So yeah, Mexican every single day of the week, year, month.
Yeah. Oh,
decade, forever.
Snowbike Mike said he did indeed drew the short straw, and next year, you, me, and Jez, we will be there. Yes, next year we'll all be together.
I'm gonna start saving for that. We'll go. I'll definitely go. We'll get.
I know Colt's been
same hotel, man.
Colt's been begging me to go. Gaz wants me to go. Tim wants me to go next year. Like, so I don't know. It seems like a thing. It's probably gonna happen. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what other questions we got in here. Justin says there's a rumor. Jez, there's a rumor on Reddit that in Starfield you might be able to name undiscovered planets to whatever you want, and you can also terraform the planets as well. Interesting.
Terraform. Wow. I've just been disconnected from Battle.net.
AFCA says, is there a chance Xbox will go after Black Myth Wukong? I mean, it's always a chance.
Bring that game up.
Yeah,
we haven't seen anything of that for a long time.
Yeah. Pegasus Killer says, hey guys, since Xbox uploaded a Modern Warfare 2 reveal trailer, does that mean PlayStation doesn't have the marketing rights?
For which game?
For Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, they're doing the beta exclusively on PlayStation, so I think like the marketing rights has at least in part gone to Sony again. Yeah. But it seems like the marketing rights are not as, I don't know, all-encompassing as they used to be, kind of. Do you remember the old Destiny marketing deal where Microsoft couldn't even say that Destiny existed on its platform, and they had to they took out an ad which was on the second page saying, this game's also coming to Xbox in one newspaper. Did you see that? Do you remember that?
I do, yeah.
That was amazing. But yeah, it doesn't seem like the COD marketing deal is as aggressive, even if it has gone to Sony. It seems a bit softer than before. And Battle.net's down, Rand. Battle.net is down. I think.
Really? It's down, huh?
I actually think it might be getting DDoS or something.
Really?
That'd be really funny if it is.
Okay. Let's see what else we got. What more questions? I mean, Jason Schreier reported that they Sony had the marketing rights for Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and Treyarch's next game. So, Ryan wants to know, do you think we will see what Roundhouse Studios and Alpha Dog games are working on in the showcase? I'm gonna say no.
Who?
Roundhouse and Alpha Dog.
I have no idea. Not a damn clue.
I'm just going to say no. Toolman says, me and my family are currently getting over COVID-19. Well, hope you get better, man. Hope everybody gets better and there's not any issues. Let's see. You know, I've avoided getting COVID this whole time, so I'll probably end
so
up
have I, apparently. I thought I had COVID because I had the sore throat, I had the fever, the sense of fatigue and even the aching joints. It hurts to turn my neck even now, but the test said no. Test said negative, so I don't know what I've got. I want to take this question for Doom Reaper because I think this is a fun question. Favorite game shown so far?
Callisto Protocol, without a doubt.
Callisto Protocol. Fair enough.
I mean, that's the one that instantly comes to my mind right away. It's the one I need to play right now. What about for you?
Callisto Protocol looks pretty damn amazing, but I I'm going to say something different just because you said Callisto Protocol, but the true answer is probably Callisto Protocol. But I really like the look of that Aliens Dark Descent game.
Really? Okay.
Because like I'm on a total Diablo kick right now, and the thought of it looks like basically Aliens Diablo. So yeah, I'm interested in that. So yeah, that's one game that I really like the look of. But have a second pick because everyone's going to pick Callisto Protocol. Let's be honest. Have a second pick, Ren.
Second pick out of everything that's been shown, what has really stood out to me?
I'll tell you a game that I can't talk about. That it is announced.
All right, Resident Evil 4 remake. There you go.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'll give a hint at a game that I can't talk about, but it is already announced. But there's probably going to be like more information about it soon. Keep an eye on a game called Steel Rising. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
It's from the developers of Greedfall. I'm pretty sure it's announced. It is announced, right? Still,
so you better hope so. I don't know if it is.
Yeah, Steel Rising. It's on Steam. It's announced. So Steel Rising is like it's a Souls-like. It's a steampunk Souls-like, and it looks amazing. And that's one game I think like we could see more of. I thought it was going to be the Summer Games Fest, but that's one game I'm pretty excited for. But yeah.
RD says, do we think there'll be one more thing that no one expects or something predictable? Hey, that's the fun part about this. I mean, it could be something nobody expects. It could be Kojima with Overdose. You know, could be Indiana Jones. Could be Project Cobalt. Could be Project Midnight. Could just be Starfield gameplay. You know, it just could be anything. You know?
I really hope there's just some mind-blowing sort of like, oh, and by the way, one more thing. I want it to be a Xbox handheld, though. I know it's not going to be there, but that's what I want. Xbox handheld. I know you don't care, but I want an Xbox handheld, man. I don't care. I really want one.
I know you want the handheld, and so does...
I do. I want it. I want the handheld. And I want an Xbox phone. That'd be cool. What if they made a phone? Xbox phone. I want an Xbox phone, Rand.
Let's see. What other questions we got here? Let me scroll. JTC says, do you think we'll see the Monster Hunter clone game on Tuesday's showcase? Or Sunday's showcase as well? Project Suerte.
Suerte. I don't know. It could be too early still, maybe. But I'd love to see that because, you know, I do like my Monster Hunters. And, you know, but part of me worries me about this is what if the reason they're making an exclusive Monster Hunter is because Sony has exclusivity on Monster Hunter World 2? That'd be like, no.
Yeah, right.
I don't even want to put that energy out there, man. Man, dude, this is lame. So, okay, so Battle.net crashed, right?
Yes.
And I think I've lost progress in Diablo 2 because of it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've lost progress.
El Pablo wants to know when you guys be on Iron Lord's podcast. I think I'll be on not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. So the 19th, I think. Let's see what other.
ILP is awesome.
RD wants to know if would Xbox have at least one big exclusive JRPG like the 360 era, Lost Odyssey caliber. I mean, they need one if they're actually going to want to get into the Japanese market. They would need something like that, but an exclusive one, I think what Xbox. Well, I know they're trying to like build up like their like ID Xbox or what we've talked about it before. I'm just the names at the tip of my tongue. I just can't remember it.
Oh, you didn't Chronicle.
Well, not that, but like
no?
they like the Xbox Global Publishing, but for Japan, right? I think they were starting that up or whatever.
I don't think that they don't have a name for it. I think, but
yeah,
I thought you were talking about the exclusives, but
well, they just need to get the bigger franchises to come, right?
Yeah, there was another JRPG that is skipping Xbox that's announced that kind of irritated me. But they're trying, man. You know, they've got, you know, there's a bunch of JRPGs that I actually haven't played. You know, we all complain about it and stuff, and you know, but it's kind of like, have we actually sort of played the games that we're complaining about? So I need to play Octopath Traveler. I haven't played Astria Ascending. You know, these are games that are all on my backlog. So if you want those games to come, go and play them and talk about them and share them and stuff like that. I need to do it too. That's why I wrote that article about Eiyuden Chronicles. I really, really just want people to get into that franchise because it's one game that Microsoft has invested in and it's pretty cool.
Face 23 Brooklyn says, we officially have a PlayStation leaker, and he is very precise with his leaks. Well, with his Silksong leak, it seems like he's just a leaker in general. So,
yeah,
because that's
a leaky boy.
Yeah, that's a leaky boy. So,
leaky boy.
But yeah, how's it feel, Face, to have a PlayStation leaker that you can actually trust to actually be right, instead of the fake ass ones that the community has been dealing with for years? What's it like having an actual real one? Doovie says Microsoft announcing a partnership with Oculus to put it on Xbox Series consoles would be dope. You think that ever could be a possibility? Instead of Xbox doing VR, they just make a deal with Meta to get, what is it, the Meta Quest or Oculus, whatever the hell it is?
Yeah, I keep seeing people, you know, shout out to PMS Jordan on Twitter, who's constantly talking about VR and stuff, but I can't see it, man. I think VR's a nothing burger.
Ooh,
personally.
Nothing burger. Don't let her hear you say that.
don't let Jordan.
Yeah, she'd be upset.
Yeah, but then she called World of Warcraft a nothing burger, so then I was depressed because she's right.
Yeah.
I know, deep.
Let's see what else. Any more questions? Beast Mode wants to know, Jez, do you think Project Keystone is now a chip instead of a box?
See, that's a chip. That's an interesting question, actually, because I was wondering, because Keystone was actually listed alongside operating systems, not hardware. So part of me was thinking, like, this is actually a version of Windows. It's not actually a hardware. So, like, maybe Keystone is like a super lightweight version of the Xbox operating system that maybe, you know, doesn't run apps side by side with the game, and that is just app based or whatever. And presumably AMD, designed for AMD chips, that like runs apps like Microsoft Film and TV and also Xbox Game Pass. And for me, that makes a lot more sense because you could put that on a streaming console, but you could also put that on a handheld, you know, because it's like a slimmed down version of the Xbox operating system, which is pretty bulky from what I understand. But yeah, I think I could probably find some confirmation on this, but I think Keystone's a platform more so than a piece of hardware, but that's just speculation.
Ulfric wants to know, what big third-party games would you want to see at the showcase? Maybe BioShock 4, Diablo 4? I mean, yes.
Yes.
I would have said Resident Evil 4 if it wasn't already at Sony's.
Be nice to see Mortal Kombat as well.
Mortal Kombat would be cool.
Because that's like the answer to Street Fighter.
Another look at Suicide Squad. But, I mean, there can't be that many third-party games because there's going to be some indie games, some third-party games, and then, first-party. So there's not going to be, like, that much. Although, I guess it also depends how long these gameplay demos are. Like, how long is Starfield going to be shown for? Are you going to be, like, a 10, 15-minute thing? Or is it going to be more like a 2 to 5 minute thing? Right? What about Redfall? So, I guess it really depends, man. Let's see what else we got here. Horizon Herb says, I'm still calling it Final Fantasy VII Remake at the Xbox Showcase. And Xbox should look to bring back 99 Nights, Bullet Witch, and Lost Odyssey. Oh, man, I played 99 Nights and Bullet Witch.
I never played either of those.
Yeah. RRD says, Kojima at the showcase or nah? Jez says no. I said, screw it. Why the hell not? I said yes. One of us will be right. One of us will be wrong. It's the best way to be. Face says Tom Henderson says Forza Motorsport's coming 2023. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Sparhawk says, Rand or Jez, have either you played Half-Life Alyx? No, but that is the one VR game I do really, really want to play. It's like the only game that would get me to like actually buy a VR headset. It's like, I love Half-Life. I want to play Half-Life Alyx. What?
It's funny because like the best VR game isn't on the best VR headset, which to me is the whole problem with VR. Facebook is sort of like the way Facebook is going against Steam is antithetical to growing the platform. That's not how you grow a platform. And it just sort of betrays Facebook's lack of vision and lack of brains and, you know, just generally Facebook being terrible. That's no offense to Cognito, who works there. But, you know, that's, he knows my feelings on Facebook. But the Steam VR headsets are so damn expensive. Like I was actually looking at one of the HTC Vives or whatever, of what it would take to get one, and it's just like hundreds of dollars just to play one game, Half-Life Alyx. Nah, it's not for me. Not for me, baby.
Doom Reaper says In Exile definitely there on Sunday ? They have been Xbox's White Knight online lately. Can they back it up this weekend? Well, I think both me and Jez said we thought Project Cobalt would be there, right?
I don't think we talked about it this show, but I think we talked about it in the past that Cobalt probably going to be there. Cobalt being the steampunk shooter, Bioshock kind of game. Some people say it might be an immersive sim, kind of like Prey or whatever. That's one game that could be there. One thing that I've seen rumored a lot, but there's nothing really to back it up, is In Exile remastering Fallout 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Fallout 1 and 2 being tactical RPGs. They're very good back in the day, but they don't hold up by modern standards at all. But it'd be a fun turnaround for like In Exile to get their hands back on Fallout, because one thing that bugs me about the rumor mill is that people always say things like, oh well, Double Fine should make Banjo because they make cartoony games or whatever. But you know, Double Fine themselves literally had to come out recently and said, look, we want to make our own games, you know. But in the case of Fallout, that is an Exile's game. Because Brian Fargo literally made Fallout, the franchise. Or at least co-founded it. So, you know, that is basically his game. So for In Exile to remaster those games kind of makes sense, you know. So that's one thing that I could... Like, I never believed the Banjo rumors for Double Fine. I always thought that was dumb. But that was, like, one thing that didn't make sense. But In Exile making Fallout 1 and 2 on the Wasteland 3 engine, that's something I could see. But who knows?
Okay. Let's see what else. Any other questions? I'm scrolling through the list. Alexander says Silksong Day 1 Game Pass Insider. What WTF posted it? We did see that. We talked about it. It would be a big announcement. Ryan Thomas says, how about Life of P, the horror Pinocchio game? Have I seen that one? I'm not sure.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. Yeah, it's sort of like a twisted Grimm's fairy tale kind of horror game. That could be there. We haven't seen it yet, right? A lot of the games that we've sort of expected to see during Summer Showcase will probably end up being on the Xbox stage at this point, because there's no shows left, right? There's just a Capcom showcase, and there's like a brief Final Fantasy VII showcase later. But that's it. There's no other shows.
I don't think EA is doing one. I don't think Ubisoft is doing one.
There's the Future Game Show, but no one cares about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that might be it. I'm not sure. Siki wants to know which one is going to be the first UE5 game comes out of Xbox Studios. Avowed? Is Avowed UE5?
I don't know if it's UE5.
I think he is. I think it is. Yeah. Any more questions? Scroll to the bottom. Yeah, I think that is everything. All right, so I think that's it for the show, guys. We appreciate everyone being here so much. The Xbox show's on Sunday. Man, I can't wait. I know Jez can't wait. If you guys want to watch it with me, I most likely will be streaming it. We're going to have a lot of fun because I don't know anything about the show. So it's all going to be a big surprise to me. And then we'll be back on Monday, a couple days from now, to talk about everything that Xbox shows. Hopefully, we love the show. Because it would be very bad to come in here and be like, man, that really was a stinker, wasn't it, Jez? So, that.
I hope it's not.
Yeah.
I really hope it's not.
So, yeah, thank you guys so much. And we will see you in a couple days. So, until then, enjoy your weekend and keep it gaming.
Take care, everybody.
Later.